The
Well,
Bootstrap Gang is fucking shit up again, and there's
They
no
did.
real members of the order besides Tyrum, at least present.
Those
And
bitches, the bootstrap gang, fucking suck. They always end up killing everybody.
those are
yeah,
some buddies.
They definitely kicked Michelo's teeth in.
That is true.
Ceras continues to show that she's a fucking gangster. She continues to show the fact that she will shoot a bitch.
And
Ceres
hog
is
tie
also.
'em.
I would say Ceres has also been walking the line of heroism, though, as she continues to not use lethal force.
She is a
Is Simon
rigger.
here?
She knows how to use ropes very well, apparently.
In spirit, I don't know if he's here in mind.
Demon.
Simon. He's not here.
I don't think he's here. But yes, everybody, you got a bit of a mirror fight in the last one. Everybody fought some iteration of this team being used differently. Funny enough, the two artificers did what artificers do, and they separated themselves away from all the big scary violence. while Tyrum stood toe to toe with a Minotaur, whom I presumed would be stronger, and then proceeded to show the Minotaur that he too can be ground beef if he tries hard enough.
Oof.
We had an almost runaway druid who was wolfed down by multiple wild shapes, but for a little bit, the elk bitch was throwing hands.
You
And
mean
last
feet?
but- hooves. I mean hooves.
Oh, and Cade shot 2 people that we
Yeah.
thought were friends.
Yep. Kade gunned down Fredrickson in the room with Dimitri being left unconscious, but still alive. However, the results of the battle left Kade with some wounds, and he does not look happy as he drags Fredrickson's body out of the room behind him. He looks at everything for a moment. I think the last place we left off, Josh was looting the druid that was out there in the courtyard. Joshua, you find a pack of medical herbs. It's a bunch of blends. There's little jars containing different sampled stuff. And if you'd like to roll me any, what would that be?
Medicine.
Medicine. Roll me a medicine to see if you recognize anything.
Let's see. I got a 20.
Dirty or
20 plus
natural?
3. No, dirty.
Didn't matter.
What do you mean it's a dirty if you got 20 plus 3? Did
Was
you
it-
roll? Did you roll a 20?
Okay, so it's 17 plus 3, so I'm sorry, word stuff and things, okay? It's the
Hey, Josh.
dirty 20. I said it was a dirty 20.
Josh.
What?
Josh. I texted you the one plant that stands out. You can do with that information as you will, but you have that.
Okay.
Next up, we had Ceras, who had just hog-tied the gnome, and we had Tyrum entering the courtyard after realizing that Fredrickson and Dimitri were taken care of. In the front room, we have the dead monk. Michaelo, you found a set of nunchucks, right? That said something about the greatest student I ever had
Yes.
inscribed on them. Yes. And who else looted? Tyrum, did you loot the Minotaur?
Tyrum?
Tyrum died. Tyrum died of stroke. He is no longer with the party. Thank you for coming to D&D. Ah, does does everybody need a second to like get into this before we start trying to roleplay? Ah, excuse me.
Are we using roll 20?
You can jump back in the game if you want to look at where where like the map left off, but we shouldn't be doing another combat in this session, I hope. But
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see how you guys play it out.
Okay.
So I guess I will open that back up actually. But,
I'm actually in it right now.
I was just
Okay,
wondering
cool.
because to put it on the video or whatever.
And Simon, if you are here, we cannot hear you, friend.
Please.
Yeah, he knows. Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes!
Please.
Yes.
Simon, you're back from the void!
Yes.
Oh my
All
gosh!
right. All right. All right. I'm here. I'm here for real now. Thanks, guys.
Hey,
Thanks for
we
your
are glad to
patience.
have you.
Oh, fuck.
I am streaming where everybody just about left off in the last session, just so you know we could all get an idea of wherever everybody might be. And I will pull everybody to the token later. Is that everybody? Michaelo, Luna, Dimitri, and the gnome are hogtied under the tree. Uh, and yeah. All right. So Alaina slowly walks behind Kade as they enter into the courtyard. Kade is dragging Fredrickson's body behind him. His coat is, as usual, torn up, and he stands in front of you, Tyrum, as he drops Fredrickson at your feet. Alaina hiding behind him still. Um, Before we get into that, Ceras, you watched Tyrum drag the gnome and Dimitri under the stump of the tree. What are you doing right now?
Well, first, I wanted to look through that gnome's pockets.
Um, Roll me a flat d20.
Hey,
And a hat, and I'm throwing the hat away.
Flat,
Going
a
to
flat
the
d20.
You know what's interesting about flat D20s? I'm
Is
totally
that
not going to grab my dice off the shelf right now.
oh,
D20s are really cool.
Really?
There's a lot of history behind D20s. That's a 16.
What's going on, guys?
Simon is looting the gnome before you put him underneath of the tree in the courtyard next to Dimitri, and we are establishing where everybody is and what everybody is doing. Kade has dragged Fredrickson out of the back room and dropped his dead body at your feet. And Simon, you pull out a small note from the gnome's parents talking about his father's illness, something really, really hard to cure, something that'll take a lot of money to fix. And at the bottom, you see a number scribbled out with a bunch of subtractions underneath of it. It seemed as if this gnome was taking jobs to pay for his father's health.
Okay. Was that it? A note? No money?
Uh, you find 50 silver in there too.
Oh my fucking
But
god.
you gonna take the silver from the dead gnome?
Well, he's not dead.
Oh, you're right. He is unconscious. That's right. My bad.
Tyrum
You're my
Tyrum
face.
points down at Fredrickson's corpse. So tell me something, Hyena. Why is it that at every turn there's a fucking bootstrap gang member trying to off our fucking heads? And
Yeah.
why would the bootstrap gang be trying to kill the owner of the bootstraps gang's daughter?
Can Michaelo
Hey,
walk in on this?
Sure.
Since he's just sitting
Yeah.
outside.
Obviously, Michelo's been standing, looking out the window, twiddling his thumbs. Michelo, where would you like to be?
Right there at the doorway. That's fine.
So, Ceras, do you close in for the? Well, you looted the guy's pockets. All right. Well, Kade looks taken aback. Whoa, this one's not on me, friend. Uh, your friend here was the one that decided he wanted to be something he's not, which was evil. He spits on Fredrickson's body as he kicks his boot. Anyways, it seems like there's a lot of intertwinings going on in the underbellies of the world. But luckily for us, Cade looks right past you at Dimitri and the gnome. It seems like we have some wonderful resources. Uh, he walks over to Ceras, and as he passes you, Tyrum, he says, "What are you gonna do with your friend?"
Is he talking about Fredrickson?
Yes.
I would advise you to stop referring to him as my friend. It's nothing but fucking compost for the soil at this point. His body doesn't deserve to rot in this holy sanctum.
Cade takes note. But that is the question, Tyrum. You seem to be understanding some of the more frustrating inner workings of this unfolding situation. You see, I've been thinking about that a lot myself. He looks back at Alaina, who's closely following. Oh no, who is closely following him? I couldn't imagine why somebody would be after such a sweet little girl, much less somebody from within their own organization. But that's what our little friend here is going to tell us about, isn't that right? The gnome kind of shakes awake, very haphazardly, very hazy, and he makes eye contact with you, Ceras. What did you do to me? Let me go! I'll get you for this, you little bastard! He starts like barking at you, Ceras.
Ceres is going to put her hands together, her fists together in like a hand tie motion, and then she like kind of like tries to break them apart, and then it doesn't work, and she looks at him, and she kind of like, oh.
you little twit! I'll get you! He looks down at the loss of blood, the puddle of blood that he's sitting in from all the wounds you inflicted on him, Ceras. He keels over in pain as he's reeling from the gunshot wounds that you have left this man with. He starts crying a little bit. What'd you say, Simon?
All right. I
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
I can now. I couldn't a moment ago. I'm sorry.
No. I go ahead. I'm trying to think of something I can do.
The gnome. Can
Tyrum unarmed strike him but not damage him?
No.
Non-lethal.
You can
damage.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, Ron, you could say he just dies. I don't know.
And Tyrum.
you can roll me to hit and roll me in athletics to see if you withstrain your strength well enough to not knock him the fuck back out. He is 1 HP right now.
It is a 16 to hit.
Well, it hits.
And then what did you need me to roll?
Roll me in athletics. You got to be within 2 of 7, up or down.
Oh man, Mr. High Roller.
22. It's within 2 of 3 times 7.
Hey, Tyrum, Tyrum, describe to me how you punch this gnome.
Tyrum doesn't punch the gnome.
What do you do to this gnome?
He just wanted to kick him.
Oh.
How do you do it? Just describe it. How do you kick this gnome? What do you do to this gnome, Tyrum?
Well, Tyrum is disgusted with the gnome and going through all of his emotions and still threatening Ceras. And he just walks over and gives him a kick in the ribs.
The point of your metallic boots jabs him in the side, and you kick him right in the exit wound from his from his gun wound. He foams at the mouth and passes back out.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to. Ceres looks at Tyrum, and then writes on her board, "Strong, but unnecessary." And then she casts Cure Wounds on him. So he gets ooh, perfect, 4 HP back. That was the minimum it could roll.
He has 4 HP. The gnome stops foaming at the mouth as he coughs up a lot of blood, and he finally sinks in for the situation that he's in. Watching all of this unfold, Kade looks down at Ceras, and he says, "All right, Half Pint, time to do my job. Do me a favor."
As she nods.
Take Alaina to the villagers and find some kids. Get her mind off it. And
right.
Kade stands up and he looks over at Luna. And you go with them, Muscles. You look like you could use a break.
Can Michaelo investigate Fredrickson?
Ceras
Sure.
grabs Luna's hand and Alaina's hand and walks towards the people.
Ceras, as you
It's a
and
18.
Bucket and Alaina, you rolled a what?
18.
I'm gonna text you something.
Okay.
As Ceras begins walking away from the gnome, Kade looks over at Tyrum. Oi, you got any water in this place? A good healthy amount of it.
Tyrum grabs Dimitri by the leg, and he notions Kade with like his head over his shoulder to follow him as he drags Dimitri to the sacred room.
Cade walks over and with one hand picks up the gnome and begins walking after you, holding him vertically hog-tied. The gnome is mostly unconscious and he's kind of just dangling there. But we all end up back over yonder. Michaelo, you lean in to research the body using the training that you've grown up with, and you begin searching for anything that seems out of place. And obviously, you notice the gun wounds, the bullets going piercing Fredrickson's armor. You see slash marks. You see a lot of damage internally. There was a lot of blood on like his inner clothing and his inner lining. And by the very end of it, you notice that on his back, top right shoulder, covered mostly by the cape and armor, you see a tattoo of the Bootstrap Gang. But that's weird, isn't it?
That is. Michaelo is going to take note of that, kick the body on his way out, and follow the rest of the group.
Are you staying with Ceras and Luna, or are you trying to follow Kade and Tyrum?
Trying to follow Kade and Tyrum.
Roll me a perception because you were studying this body, so to see where they went, or you can wander
That
around.
is a 12.
It looks like they walked in that direction. You can also move your character wherever you'd like.
Yeah. Everybody just getting a roll 20.
Yeah.
I think they went this direction.
Yeah, somewhere over there.
Okay.
You can roll me an investigation for that room.
I mean,
Ceras!
maybe there's a trail of blood, you know?
Maybe. The last place you noticed looking up at them was walking towards the top side of the courtyard.
Investigation was a 12.
Your investigation was a 12?
Mm-hmm.
You find the inner log. What is it called when a church has money reserves, but it's like for charity? Was it coffers?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, or
You
like
mean
a
coffers?
coffers. Yeah,
But coffers, it's not just for churches, but that's just in general. Coffers, yeah, you can go for that.
Michaelo, you find loggings of the church's coffers, and you find the paper trail for all the money coming in and out of this place. It doesn't seem like they've had a lot coming in. However, they've definitely had a lot of survivors going out towards a deeper position in the marsh. You know this because the merchants keep track of all persons coming going from this.
Can I take everything that I just found?
You can roll it up and put it in your pocket. Absolutely.
Okay.
Ceras,
Mm-hmm.
Alaina is squeezing your hand very tightly, and she is very worried. Luna, you see this small girl cowering behind a small person, and you can tell that she's scared. But the other kids hiding behind the adults that are slowly swarming into the courtyard have begun to poke their head in the doorway. The old woman sits with her dead husband, the old man.
No.
Where's my cat?
Ah, yes, right. I thought I had. Okay, well,
Raitu's been
do
curled
this.
up in the corner of the lobby.
Raitu is
Probably.
curled up.
Slept through the entire thing.
Yeah, Raitu has been sleeping in the tree amidst all the combat, Joshua, you notice that Reitu is on the top branch, stretched out past clean out.
Huh. Hey, Ceras, do you think that you could send your robot to go get my cat? I need to go feed it.
Ceras, holding on to not your hand but one of your fingers because her hands are too small.
I bet it looks huge in those hands.
Nods her head and whistles at Bucket and points at Reitu.
Bucket snaps up with a little jolt of electricity as it starts, getting ready to move. Uh, it's like fucking turning on a lawnmower after some time as Bucket just got out of combat. And Bucket begins approaching the tree at maximum speed that it's willing to go for this. It walks clean through the bushes. It kind of trips over the curb and gets into the
All of
courtyard.
his charges are gone too. So.
Yeah, I figured. Bucket bumps into the tree as it bounces back to stabilize itself. It seems like Bucket is low on energy. And Bucket begins climbing the tree to find Reitu. It gets to the top branch where Reitu is sleeping, and then it stops.
That is a 19 on Dex. Come on. Come on. Oh, you mean it just stops? It runs out of energy?
It just stops, yeah.
Oh, no.
Bucket has gone into power reserve mode for the first time in quite some time, and you know this, Ceras. You can see it. Bucket powers down.
How tall is this tree?
It's a pretty tall tree, 10, 12 feet tall, top branch being, see about 12 feet. But there's a bunch of smaller branches beneath.
Ceras just writes on the board, "Throw me, but don't tell anyone."
Huh. Luna looks down at Ceras and says, Are you sure about this?
She nods her head. She looks a little excited because it reminds her of the circus acts.
All right, Ron. I need to roll a strength.
Roll me a strength. Roll me. No, matter of fact, roll me an athletics or a performance. And Ceras, you roll me a performance to see if you can stick this landing. Michaelo, do you stay in the room or do you continue walking along, or do you come back to the courtyard?
I'm gonna go through that top door right there.
I got a 14.
Ceras?
I got a 16.
Luna, how do you throw Ceras into the tree? What happens? How do you two do this?
All right, so from where I'm standing, I'm at a pretty solid angle. Well, no, I'm at a pretty terrible angle. So let me. If you were to place, so is that where Bucket ran out of energy at? Right there.
Yep.
Okay, so as I'm standing, right across from the tree, Ceras, could you stand next to me for a moment, please?
I'm not in a.
Oh, you're not? Okay. That's fine.
Give me just a second. I'm actually making.
Yeah, Ceras goes and stands next to you.
Luna picks Ceras up.
Reitu is sleeping in the tree like that, and you throw you throw Ceras from right here.
Yes, I put Ceras on the palm of my hand like she's Supermaning, and I proceed to launch her like a spear towards her robot, towards Bucket.
Ceras, Luna just launched you towards the tree. How do you stop yourself from getting hurt?
I mean, honestly, it was such a perfect throw. I think Ceras, she aims her arms for a nice sturdy branch, and swings around it like a trapeze, and then does a flip and lands on the branch with a flourish.
As you finish and take your bow, landing both toes down on the branch, you find yourself between Bucket and Reitu. Roll me one more save. Roll me a dex save for Bucket.
Oh god, dex save. Oh god, where's the dice?
Oh God! Oh God! Where's the dice? The
Oh
dice!
no,
No!
no.
Not the dice!
No,
No, God, no!
That is a, let's see, saves, please. No, I don't think he has any saving throws except con. So that's a flat 6.
Uh, as you stick your landing with like the most beautifully executed finish, the force of your landing on the tree knocks Bucket all of its legs to slide off the branch as it plats down on the branch, hitting the bottom of its platform, and it begins to lean and it begins to start falling off the branch. Ceras, what do you
Oh
do?
no. Oh god. I think Ceres is probably going to try and snatch his arm, one of his arms, and try and stabilize him on the branch.
Roll me a d20 for luck.
Luna runs under where where the robot is falling.
That
Bucket
is
is
an
falling.
18.
See,
Ceres, as you notice Bucket slipping, you reach out just in time to keep Bucket from falling. And you straighten Bucket out and perch Bucket up on the tree.
Excellent.
Now all three of you are in the tree.
I'm certainly going to tie a rope onto Bucket and lower him down. Reitou, I'm probably just gonna like let I'm gonna let Luna catch Reitou.
Ceres, you carefully pick Raitou up off the tree as it's asleep, and it wakes up in your arms. And
Yep.
no, go ahead. Tell me how you throw him off the tree.
Well, I'm going to pick him up very tenderly,
Yes,
hopefully trying to keep it so he's still asleep.
he
Because
yawns a little
I'm
bit.
not, yeah, I'm not
And he
trying
do-
to get scratched as I drop him.
Please keep in mind about how big Reitu actually is at this point.
he is like a toddler size. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, but I still don't want to get scratched. So she's gonna
Right.
pull very gingerly.
Raitou nuzzles into your shirt as it starts purring and sleeping in your arms.
Oh, that's so cute. She's gonna walk over right where Luna is, and then she's going to, with her fingers, 3, 2, 1, and just drop right to.
Raitou descends in a scary drop of about 5 feet into Luna's arms. Raitou is pissed as it wakes up and starts clawing and hissing at your face. It does not like the fact that you knocked it out of this tree. Raitou is spazzing out in your arms. It's scratching at your arms and kind of biting at your hands.
I am holding Reitu away from my face and letting him just scratch up my arms, and I just breathe.
2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up from the tree.
Thank you. I walk Reitu over to the druid's corpse and proceed to feed the corpse to Reitu.
Raitou
Jesus
doesn't take Raitou does not take a bite. It is picky and it does not want the dead guy.
Well,
And
I
it's-
guess
it's
I'll try
still-
something else then.
Well, you can roll me an animal handling to see if you can convince it to eat.
No, I
You
could
hear
do that,
Ceres
couldn't
knocking on her board.
What?
You hear Ceres knocking on her board. Do you bother to look up?
I? Luna looks up.
It says, "Do not feed a dead person to your cat in front of all the random villagers."
It's also a 21 Ron.
Animal handling?
Yes.
Josh, did you hear what Ceres wrote to you?
I looked up.
He looked up and he still rolled a 21, Ron.
It's
All right.
a good thing I can't read. It's a good thing I can't read.
Raitou looks at you, Josh, and understands that you are still the one that saved its life. It like puts its head down, it hisses at you, and it walks over to the dead druid and bites a finger. It then shakes its head as it breaks the finger off, and it scampers away from you and the body towards the bushes. You see it jump into the bushes over here, and you hear rattling in the leaves. But then you see Raitu's little tail stick out from beneath the bench right there.
Luna walks back over to the tree and sticks his arms out towards Ceras.
Ceras jumps down.
Hey Josh, roll me in athletics.
I got a 13.
Josh, describe to me how you fuck this up.
Wow.
On a 13, goddamn.
Oh man, wow. Okay, jeez. All right, so as Ceras is falling out of the tree, I tried to catch Ceras, but her feet ended up landing on my face as I land on the ground, and Ceras hops off of my face as I hit the ground, and she lands on her feet and looks very surprised at what just happened.
Ceras, you stick the landing.
Ceras bows.
As Luna's laying on the ground with his nose just freaking smushed in, he grabs his face and goes, oh, my nose. Oh, that's going to leave a mark.
Michaelo, as you enter the top room, you notice that it is a smaller banquet room. There looks to be a lot of food left out on the table. This seems to be like where any higher ups would have been to come to converse or, talk. But it doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary. More of like a rather well hidden conference room.
What type of food is on the table?
You see a wheel of cheese, a half-eaten loaf of bread, and a couple slices of like ham.
I'm gonna pick up a couple slices of ham, and I'm gonna walk back into the courtyard.
All right. You want to roll me one more investigation, see if you notice like where they went as you walk back out into the courtyard.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. That is a 12 again.
You do notice that there's a trail of blood leading through this doorway,
Oh, okay.
but as you notice that, we will come back to you. Um, Tyrum.
Oh, can I throw the ham at Luna and say, "Here for your cat"?
Sure.
Michaelo throws the ham to Luna and goes, "Hey, I think your cat might like this if they're hungry still."
Can he roll to throw that at me?
Yeah, roll the hit. Fuck it.
Uh,
Also,
roll-
Luna,
roll
you're
to
still
hit.
on the ground. Yeah, roll me to hit. Just a flat d20 to hit.
8.
Is that higher than your AC there, Josh?
No, it's a low. No, it's not.
Hey, Michaelo, the ham just kind of drops at Luna's, like right next to Luna's head in the grass.
Okay, that's good.
Luna looks over, picks it up, and tosses it in the bushes next to Reitou.
You see the bushes rattle a little bit more, and then it goes quiet. His tail's like gently swaying back and forth underneath the bench.
Okay, back to what Tyrum was doing.
Tyrum, you lead Dimitri, Kade, and the gnome into the sacred room full of dead bodies. Kade follows. Okay.
No, what were you gonna say?
I was just say Kade follows you in, and he was going to say something smart. He walks in holding the gnome like a picnic basket, and so is this where all the knights go to wash up? As he notions at the dead bodies in the pool.
Unlikely that they're even knights as well.
Cade kind of drops the gnome on the concrete. He leans in towards the water. Well, they certainly look like paladins if I've ever seen them.
Tyrum, is the gnome still alive?
Yeah, he's hog-tied.
Awake. Excuse me.
Oh no, he's still unconscious.
If you grant me some time to meditate, I may be able to extract the information that everyone wants to hear without things having to get painful.
Kade looks at you and he has a shit-eating grin. But I like painful. But I'll tell you what. I'll talk to our friend the gnome here first, and then you can have all your time with him. I promise not to kill him. And then he points over to Dimitri. Him, however, I will have a word with. But I am respectful enough to wait until after you've had your words with him. He is he's in your line of fate more than my own.
Tyrum, Tyrum sits down, kind of crisscross. He says, Whatever you do while I meditate is not of my concern."
Kade, good. Kade walks over and grabs Dimitri. He drags him to this corner right here, and he kneels down as he ties Dimitri's hands to a really big column in the room. Now, you don't go anywhere, and I'll be back. The gnome is hogtied on his stomach. Tyrum, you are sitting here meditating, and Kade looks at you and says, before you slowly drift off into your thoughts, I'll be right back. Gonna go make sure everybody is hunky dory. And then he looks over at the gnome, and when I get back, we're gonna have fun. As he walks out of the room.
Wait, before Cade walks out of the room, where were you on the night of the slaughter?
It stops. You see his ears perk up. You see his tail perk up. Who's asking? As he slowly turns around and walks back in the door. All jokes aside, bad question. Sorry, I get defensive when people get personal. But I was nowhere near Buena Fortuna when things went astray with your religious system. He looks over at Dimitri for a moment, looks back. I was actually here in the marsh, looking for an acquaintance. But nonetheless, that storm was rough, wasn't it?
Tyrum grunts and closes his eyes to meditate.
As you close your eyes, Kade calls out, "Where were you the night of the storm?"
Tyrum just scoffs. You'll learn later.
Personal, cryptic. I like it. It lives up to my very own style. And he gives you like a little bit of a pirate's bow as he tips his ears at you and walks down the hallway. Michaelo, as you walk through the back door to see where Kade and Tyrum were, you run into Kade in the hallway as he's closing up the door.
What's going on in there?
Nothing for someone so sweet like yourself to know about, but don't worry, the big boys have it handled.
Well, I have something I want to show him.
Show who?
Tyrum.
He's asleep. Come back later.
He doesn't sleep.
It's just joking. He pats you on the shell. You look a little woozy there. You sure you're all good to walk back there?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need help from you.
He puts his hand on his chest. Ouch.
Spicy.
You know, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you've got a little bit of animosity against me.
I just don't like the way you work.
And I don't like the way you act. And so here we are, both disappointed. Mr. Stupider than a box of rocks until necessary as Kade turns his back and starts walking down the tableway.
I guess Tyrum is gonna go back here, or Michaelo is gonna go back here.
You see Dimitri tied to the pillar. You see the gnome unconscious and hog tied next to the pool of bodies, and you see Tyrum meditating. Tyrum, how do you look when you meditate? Is it like a kneel and hands on your lap? You got it like a crisscross with the Zen pose. How do you look, bud?
Tyrum sits crisscross applesauce, but instead of like doing the hand poses or whatever, Tyrum just sits his palms on his knees as he sits crisscross.
Applesauce.
Yeah.
Sauce.
He eats applesauce.
He eats a lot of applesauce.
Tyrum hates applesauce. Applesauce killed his pet fucking caterpillar.
Sounds like a
He's-
personal problem.
He's never forgiven applesauce for killing his pet caterpillar.
Maybe he should have watched after his caterpillar a lot more.
Michaelo,
Get that animal handling up.
Gotta get that animal handling up. I love it. Michaelo, that's what you see. So what do you do?
Michaelo is gonna hold the record of the people leaving and coming in his hand. He's gonna say, "Hey, Tyrum,
What? Who's disturbing my rest?
I have something you might want to see."
Can
Any-
it wait for another few hours?
I mean, if you want these people to die, I guess we could.
Tyrum opens his eyes and stands up, approaches Michaelo. What is it? What do you want to show me?
Michaelo kind of slaps it on his chest, not hard, just like kind of like, here, look at this.
Tyrum inspects the sheet.
Tyrum, you see a record of countless survivors, people picked up from all over, of all ages, of all races, being moved from this temple to an unknown buyer further in the marsh. You don't know who the buyer is, but all you know is that the bootstrap gang, in this sense, has been hired to traverse these people across the marsh for something deeper inland, directly opposite of where Dead End is, as noted by the little scribbles on the map.
Michaelo was gonna say, and before you asked, I didn't tell Kade.
Tyrum nods at Michaelo. Well, then I should keep it that way. And he sits back down. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to prepare for this interrogation.
Michaelo goes, I'll leave you to it. And he's gonna walk back to the room with Kade, I guess.
Oh no, Kade walked into the family room. He's with the elderly couple. Ceras and Luna, you all see three kids playing with Alaina. They are running around playing what appears to be tag, and it looks like they're making the most of everything. And while one of the kids runs past you, a small human girl knocks into you, Luna. Excuse me, mister.
Yes, little girl.
I didn't mean to bump into you. She twiddles her thumbs a little bit. She looks a little squeamish to be looking up at such a large person. Are you the one that saved us from the bad people?
I mean, if you consider it saving, I'd say so. Yes.
As soon as you say yes, she hugs you. Like, deep hug.
What is she like at my leg?
She's about top of her head is about top of your lower abdomen.
Lower abdomen. I pet her on the head and I go, "Don't worry too much about it."
She signals you to come in close as if she wants to whisper something.
I lean in.
She said, "And also, mister, I didn't tell anybody else, but you smell a lot like I do." And she runs back into playing with the other kids as Alaina comes bolting past. They all get back into frolicking throughout the courtyard, and the kids continue running.
Ceras is right there. Oh God, she whispered it. Oh God.
What's your passive perception?
That would be my passive perception is a 10.
10.
Before I ask you to roll me a perception, Ceras, what are you doing?
I think Ceras is just watching Alaina. And actually, no. You know what? Fuck it. No, Ceras isn't paying attention. She's trying to like fix up the
Fix
scratches
Bucket.
on Bucket and maybe get a little bit of juice going on him. Maybe she's trying to make a makeshift hand crank to try and charge him with a little bit of something. She's trying to look for any magical thing that she can kind of give him enough energy to walk.
Roll me a perception if you'd like to hear.
Uh, Ceres wouldn't be paying attention. I'm not going
Okay.
to.
I was gonna say you are close enough to hear it, but if you're not, if you're not really paying attention, it is what it is. All right, Josh. Yeah, give me that information what you will.
All right, so quick question. You said you're in the room with the elderly couple, right?
Yep.
So is everyone in here the building that's alive right now? Are they're not part of the staff at all, correct?
Nope. These are travelers, villagers, lost children, anybody that was unfortunate enough to be separated from some sort of protection in the marsh, and by the grace of Kydros, lucky enough to be found by either Dimitri or Fredrickson and brought to this sanctuary.
Luna is slightly shaken by what the little girl said, but then kind of readjusts his eyes from being like a widened, oh my goodness, to like to a normal, like back to normal kind of, and then veers off and looks at Ceres as she's attempting to make some kind of crank.
Hey, Ceres, did you roll me that 1d4 to see how many hours it'll take you to get Bucket back up?
I have not. But 1d4 hours need to fully mend and recheck. That is 3 hours.
So you are going to be working for the next at least 3 hours to
3 hours
fix Bucket, to
to
fix
recharge
Bucket back
him.
to top up their operational statistics.
Yeah.
All right, Luna, what are you doing?
I'm going to go find Kade because this little girl has reminded me of a few things that need to be
Disgust.
possibly discussed, more or less. I mean, yes, more or less.
Which room do you pick first? Just where would Luna go to look for him first? You're not really sure where he wandered off to.
Fair enough. I would head back up to where I believe I saw him last, which he headed towards. Yes, that little chapel area, whatever the heck it was called. What was that room called?
The sanctuary room up there.
Yes, and I would
Okay.
assume I would run into Michaelo on my way
Michaelo.
up.
Yep. So you two run into each other into the dining room as Michelo's coming out from seeing Tyrum.
Hey, Michaelo, have
Hey,
you seen
Luna.
Kade?
I think my favorite part of this campaign has been Ryan playing Michaelo.
Yeah.
It's a toss.
Luna stares at Michaelo and then repeats, "Have you seen Kade?"
I saw him earlier, but I don't know where he went. Maybe
Is
he's under the
there-
table.
Wow.
Luna stares at him and then glances under the table and then looks back at him and goes, "He's not under the table."
Michael
Is he
then
in the
kind of just
back
like
room behind
shrugs his
you?
shoulders. He slams his hand on the door, and he does, "No, just Tyrum. He also has friends. He said not to bother him."
What's he doing in there?
When I walked in there, it looked like he was just sitting with his eyes closed.
Meditating?
I guess if you want to call it that.
Then do you think it was wise for you to slam your hand on the door like that? Alright. Luna turns the opposite direction and walks away.
All right. So Luna, you come walking this way.
Correct.
You enter the room with Kade and the elderly people. In front of Kade is the old woman. She looks heartbroken. And you walk in as Kade is carrying the old man towards the courtyard. He's got the old man in his hands, and he was getting ready to leave the room.
Cade, okay. Luna walks towards Cade to catch up to him as he's carrying the old man. Hey, Cade.
And what can I do for you, my friend? As Cade slowly maneuvers the old man out of the door into the courtyard room.
So when are we getting to our destination?
Cade stops for a moment and he looks back at you. Well, you see, friend, there's been a couple changes in plans. But I won't know anything for sure until after I'm done talking to that gnome. We'll talk about it in the morning. Tell you what,
Hmm,
God's honest truth for a fresh start tomorrow.
fine. I
Uh,
can wait.
and and as you say, fine, he points up the hallway that he just walked into the courtroom, by the way. So he kind of motions up towards where Elena's playing, and he says, "If you go straight through those doors down there, there's beds. Be kind enough to let everybody know where they're sleeping tonight." Uh, he looks a little puzzled. Some of you might have to share, but I'm sure it'll be fine. As he carries the old man to this part of the courtyard, he lays him down
So what direction did Cade point for beds?
up there. He
Ah,
points. He pointed at that room.
I see. All right.
As you walk past Ceras, you see she has opened Bucket up with his core exposed, and she's weaving alchemical patterns into the core
Ooh.
as the thread kind of just absorbs into it.
Sarah's
As
roll me a
Luna,
Sarah's roll me an investigation real quick, and go ahead, Luna.
as Luna sees what Ceres is doing, he kind of he's walking, with a quick
Dirty
little
20.
pace, and then he sees it, and he kind of does a quick little turn to see what Ceres is doing, and he walks towards her to see what she's doing up close.
As Luna approaches, all three of the kids and Alaina have stopped running around. One of which is sitting on the ground. Alaina and the little girl are sitting on the bench, with the third kid standing in the bushes looking at you, Ceres. Everybody has stopped to pay attention to you. What was that you rolled?
Dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Ceres, as you weave into this core of magical properties, you notice something in the deepest, darkest back crevice of Bucket's core container.
Oh shit.
You
Yeah.
notice one small dot of the mold from the water. It doesn't look to be touching anything, but it's a little strange that it's in there. It's connected to the wood inside of Bucket, but it looks
It's
like a
connected.
small patch.
It's in the core, or it's connected on like his chassis.
It's like on his chassis. It looks like a small patch of like moss is growing from the wood inside of Bucket's chassis or core chassis.
Oh
But it's
god.
not touching. It's not touching the magical properties. Like it's not touching the weaving magic that you're doing.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Ceres like looks at it and kind of like she like puts her like one of her bells. She puts it in front of her eye, and then she like rotates it, and it's like a little magnifying glass monocle, and it
Ooh.
extends out like 3 times. And she looks really closely at it, and then kind of just like shrugs with a concerned face, and then keeps working on the core.
It looks like just a plain, block of moss. But you continue working. You have an audience though. All of the kids are watching us, and so is Luna. Um, and on the other side of the tree, Kate has begun digging.
Oh god. Oh god. Um, I guess Ceres kind of claps her hands to get Cade's attention.
Kate's ears perk up. He's been digging for a couple minutes, but he's already a good foot into the ground, and he looks over at you. What?
Yeah,
What's up?
she
You're efficient
motions him
digger.
over and then shows him the moss and
Uh,
writes down on the board. Should I be concerned about this? This is the moss from the Dead Man's Desert Oasis.
he slaps his face. Ah, This is hilarious. You know who would think this is a great time? You know who would think this is funny, half pint? Gad. Gad would love to see this. That's who you should ask about this because, sad to say, technology isn't my strong suit. But Cade goes to poke the moss, and as his claw touches the small patch of moss, you notice that one of Bucket's legs twitches hard, and then it stops, and there's nothing else coming from Bucket.
Ceras goes wide-eyed and looks at Kade and looks at the moss and looks at Kade.
Cade looks at his claw and looks at Ceras and then slowly moves his hand back. See? Not my strong suit. I'm not touching Bucket again. His tail starts wagging a little bit because he kind of wants to see what happens.
Ceras is going to take an extra hour if there's she's going to focus on the core, but at the end of it she's probably going to take an extra hour to like poke around the moss and just experiment.
Okay. Cade slowly backs away as you like lose yourself back into focus on working on Bucket, and he like stops for a moment. He just takes in the scene. Kids playing, his young apprentice working hard, a strange man who stands out in the crowd, but it feels good. This is different. He's never been in a scenario like this before. Cade calls out to everybody in the courtyard, including the young man, the other elderly man over here who is just sitting by the wall. All right, all you should try to get some sleep. He looks at Luna. Keep an eye on the kids for me, huh? As he starts like corralling the kids to the room, and as he's leading these kids to the back room, he looks over at Ceras. And you don't stay up all night. We got an early morning, and I know how you like. I know how you are with your toys. He points his finger at you in a very like mocking in an adult kind of way.
She rolls her eyes and gets back to work.
He comes over and flicks your bell as he turns around and starts running back towards the kids.
Mm.
He like clears the bench as he escorts the kids into the room. And Luna, as he gets to the door with the kids, he looks at you and he says, "And why don't you stay in here with the kids? Read them a bedtime story. Make sure they're all tucked in. I'm sure they'll. I'm sure they'll sleep. I'm sure he stops you. I'm sure they'll sleep a lot better with somebody that looks like them over somebody that looks." And he like gestures to himself.
He Luna looks over at you and he goes, I mean, fair, I guess, but I think Alaina likes your presence the most.
As soon as you say that, Reitou bites Cade's tail. He lifts his tail up with Reitou still connected, and he throws Reitou at you. And besides, Alaina might like me, but I'm sure she likes the cat more as he stomps back off towards the hole he was digging.
I look at Reitou. Reitou looks at me. I shrug my shoulders. I put the cat down on the ground. I let Reitou go wherever he wants.
Kate already walked off, and he walks past the old lady who's sitting on the bench, looking at her husband. He's gently laid out in the grass. She put a couple of flowers from the courtyard around his head as Cade gets back to digging. And Luna, do you
No. Luna,
you let Reitou do what he pleases, right?
Yeah, I do. I let Reitou do what he pleases. Luna goes into the same room that Michaelo is in. Michaelo is in and sits down at one of the chairs.
Hi, Luna.
Hey, Michaelo.
Hello.
Michaelo, have you just been sitting by this door the whole time?
Yeah.
Nice.
But Michaelo is going to walk out of the room now after saying hi to Luna.
You see Ceras working on Bucket, and you see Kade digging a hole.
I'm going to go and sit next to Ceras.
Ceras is continuing to work on her
I'm just gonna constantly peek over her shoulder to see what she's doing.
Ceras is still weaving alchemical symbols into the core. How many hours has passed at this point, or is this like
It's
immediate?
it's been about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Just with everything. Cade's continued to dig the hole. Michaelo has looked over your shoulder for an hour at this point without saying anything.
Ceres looks over at Michaelo and she writes on the board, and like she puts her tools down. She looks at Michaelo and she writes on the board, "Watch this," and then she slowly puts her finger and pokes the moss.
Michaelo just
poked the moss. As she poked the moss, one of Bucket's legs kicks out, and it actually smacks you in like the ankle, like the shin, Ceres.
Michaelo goes, "Are you okay?"
Ceres nods her head, and then like, and she writes, "Weird, right?"
Yeah. I bet my brother Dono could figure this out.
I'd like to meet Dono. He seems like a knowledgeable man.
He was
Oh,
in like a tearful kind of way. He was.
Ceres puts a hand on his shoulder and pats him, and then gets back to work.
Michaelo kind of does. That's why you're my best friend, Ceres.
Ceres smiles. She kind of leans into her work and smiles.
As you say that, Michaelo, you roll me a deck save.
A deck save.
Yes, roll me a deck save.
Oh, it's a 7.
As you say this to Ceres, you happen to look up and you see a shovel hurled in your direction as the flat end of the shovel smacks you in the snout. Hey, that's not your best friend, and I don't want to hear that bullshit again. It's my friend, and I'm not sharing. As Kade hops out of the hole, which is pretty big at this point, and he storms over there and picks his shovel back up. He then turns around and tries to like he brushes you with his tail as he pats Ceres on the head and walks back to his hole.
Michaelo is then going to whisper to Ceres, so I'm gonna roll his stealth.
Wait a minute, did Michaelo take damage from that?
Nah, it's just theater of mind. Also, you have to roll an 18 to be higher than Cade's perception.
Well, I rolled a 23, so
Get fucked. Get fucked.
he's gonna whisper to Ceres, and he's gonna say, "You're still my best friend."
Ceres, I think Ceres feels like a little bit like, her smile deepens. She never had many friends, ever. No, she genuinely just didn't have any friends. And then Kade is like her, like, uncle brother, and and now she has a friend. She's very happy about that.
I'm glad Ceres thinks of Michaelo as a friend as well, because Michaelo thinks of Ceres as a friend just because she wanted to try pizza.
I think Ceres isn't good at friendship. She thinks that maybe that's a valid reason to be friends with someone.
Hey, Ceres, since you're all giddy, do you think you would like, I don't know, maybe try to explain what you're doing, or maybe involve? Do you think Ceres would involve Michaelo in any way in this?
I think Ceres would probably, because Ceres would get Michaelo. God, what could Michaelo do?
Let's make this interesting. If you allow Michaelo to take the help action, I'll let him roll to see if he helps you or hinders you. We'll make this fun.
I love that. Michaelo, Ceres like takes the core out of the chassis completely.
What does the core look like?
It's like it's a cylinder, right? With a, the Titanfall 2, the battery cylinders.
Yeah.
It's like that, and it opens up in like a double door fashion, and there's the uh, glowing stone inside of it, kind of suspended by its own magic.
Michaelo, seeing this up close and personal, outside of like your brother's handy mechanical work, this is a pure magical stone. This is arcane in essence, you know. This is probably the prettiest stone you've ever seen.
Mm.
And she writes on the board, hold this vertically, and I shall be able to access the other points better.
Before Michaelo does the grab it, he's gonna ask, "Is this gonna shock me? Because every time Donna would give me something, it would shock me."
Probably not. Just make sure not to touch the brass parts. And there's like at the top of the battery, the stone holder, there it's like rubber on on the top and on the bottom handle.
Uh, my,
Michaelo, roll me a flat D20 to see if your help helps or hurts.
that's a 5.
Oh no!
Michaelo, continue on what you were saying. How do you interact with this?
Michaelo does to pick it up, and I think he's gonna accidentally touch a brass part.
As your skin exposed touches the brass cylinder top, you are in fact shocked, and you almost drop the core. You begin fumbling around with it. Roll me a dex or an athletics to see if you catch it.
Oh no.
That's a 6 plus 5.
11.
Yeah.
Ceras, as Michaelo begins fumbling around with your core, would you like to roll to also try to catch it?
Yeah, for sure. Let's
roll,
see.
roll in athletics at disadvantage.
Oh shit! I already have a -1 in athletics. All right, let's see. Oh,
And it's only-
shit!
It's disadvantage because there is a large turtle fumbling around with it in front of you.
Yeah. Well, that would be a 4.
Ooh.
You both fumble around with the cylinder as little bits of electricity zap your hand, Ceras and Michaelo, as you both try to catch it. You manage to fumble it enough to where it only drops about a foot from Ceras's pinky to the ground, and it plops standing straight. It plops into the dirt standing straight up. The the little the little magical stone rolls out, but nothing happens.
I kind of soy jet face look at Ceras like, oh,
Ceres is like she has her hands up completely still, and then she like reaches down for her board and goes, "Make sure everyone moves away. Move everyone everyone out of the room."
Michaelo
Explode.
Michaelo's gonna yell at Kade, "Kade, get them out of here!"
Michaelo, roll me a flat D20 for luck.
Flat D20. Wait, do I get my plus luck?
Nope.
Oh no, there isn't.
No, yeah.
11.
Nothing happens. As you call over to Kade, he pokes his head up out of the dirt. He's about 6 feet into the ground. We've been about 3 hours into this whole situation, and he perks his ears up. Huh? What are you calling me for? What? As he climbs out of the hole.
Get out of here!
Kade cocks his head sideways. What? What are you talking about? He puts the shovel in the dirt and pats it down with his tail, standing straight up. But he walks over to you guys. What are you two getting into? What is going on over here?
Ceres points 3 times at the exposed core on the ground.
At mid-sentence, Kade freezes. Oh, I see. You've chosen the path of greatness. He slowly puts his hand out onto Michelo's chest and starts trying to like slide you behind him. This way.
Sarah slowly reaches for the core handling tool, which is attached to the battery. It's like a pair of large blacksmith tongs with glyphs on the flats of each piece.
As you reach out with the tongs, Kade picks you up, Ceras, and starts holding you up and starts inching you closer with the tongs. And he whispers over, "If this goes wrong, I'm throwing you vertically." As he puts you closer to the orb, to the stone.
She opens the tongs and slowly puts the tips around the stone. And in that moment,
Roll me a flat d20 for luck.
Yep.
Michaelo is gonna go into his shell.
What happens to the stone?
He's just gonna poof right in his shell.
That would be a 15.
Ceras?
Yeah.
Nothing happens.
Excellent.
You
As
pick the stone
as
up
the
with no
tongs
problems.
get close, the glyphs activate with the power of the stone, and the stone starts levitating in between the tongs. And she slowly goes over and inserts it back into its casing. As it goes in the casing, the entire thing, the glyphs lining it start glowing. It's steady blue. It's pulsating blue, and the stone is now levitating inside of it.
As it seems as everything is okay, Kade puts you down and lets off a huge deep breath of relief.
Michaelo is gonna come out of his shell slowly, going, "Is it okay?"
Ceres like slowly nods her head and takes a deep breath.
As you let out a deep breath, Kade leans in really close, Ceras, and he looks you crouches down to your level, eye to eye, and he says, "Go to sleep before something happens. Please."
Ceres nods her head and closes the casing and puts it back in the chassis and then goes to bed. she deadpan, no face. She is shaken that she almost killed everyone.
But Ceras, as you walk towards the rooms where the kids are sleeping, you do hear Bucket turning back on. You can hear the core firing up the machine as steam blows out of some of its orifices and the legs begin adjusting. Then a pulsing blue light from Bucket's core begins flashing out. And
Excellent.
you know this to be Bucket initializing.
Excellent.
See what I did there, Jay? Work terms.
Ceres looks over and waves at Bucket to follow her.
Bucket,
you know what? I think you know what Ceres is gonna do is she's going to put like a big pillow right on Bucket and like a blanket and sleep on top of Bucket.
Ceres,
her legs are kind of dangling off the sides, but it's alright.
Bucket lowers itself down, its legs tucked into the sides around it, and you've got yourself a nice crib known as a Bucket.
Excellent.
Michaelo is gonna walk over to this door right here, and he's just gonna sleep right next to the door with all the kids in it.
Michaelo, how do you sleep?
Kind of just sitting down, like one knee up, head down, laying on my arms.
Okay. Kade finishes up with the old man. He finally finishes burying this old man, and then he turns to the elderly lady and he says, Your lover was very brave. He seemed to have done a lot of things in life, but he died so that I could live." And he puts his hand on her shoulder and he says, Your husband, madam, was a hero." And he kind of turns away and walks past you, Michaelo. He doesn't say anything as he walks past you. He kind of tries to tiptoe, and if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't even have known he walked past you. He stops at the door for the for the kids' room. He lets off a deep sigh and he walks into the kitchen. Luna, you have been in this room by yourself for a few hours. There are wine barrels within the room. This was a family eatery. This was like the cafeteria. You see plates of food spread across the table. You see a couple barrels of wine. The good stuff. And you've been in here sitting for the last hour or so. At first, it was a still and calming quiet, but after a while of being by yourself, you began to daydream about your hometown. Being in this room alone, you could hear kids laughing, you could hear elderly nagging, you could hear the local salesman who would offer up large fish as, at a great price. Large salmon. You hear the old lady strumming her lute on her porch as she rocks back and forth. And the feeling of community really begets your heart. I don't know if I'm using begets right, guys, but begets your heart.
No.
And damn, I thought it was something else. But yeah, you
You could
feel
say besets, as in it
be
falls upon, besets upon my heart.
it besets. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Joshua. It besets
Mhm.
your heart, and you find yourself feeling nostalgic, maybe even a little sad. And then Cade walks in.
I turn and I look over. All the feeling of nostalgia just went away, reminding me of everything that's just gone and the situation that I'm in right now. I look over and around me, and I reach for the closest cup of wine or whatever alcohol is closest to me, and I
You
take a lofty swig.
you see a goblet of wine on the table as you begin chugging. Cade notices as he walks past you. Having fun in here, are we? I know somebody didn't know we was throwing a party. He walks over to the table and he grabs another goblet and starts walking over towards the barrel in the back as he dips his cup and takes a swig.
The only parties that are going on around here are the kind where people are dying. Takes another swig.
You're very observant, aren't you? I'm sure you're a lot of fun at places. He sips on the wine and he sits at the table in front of you. So, I have an idea, roughly, of what everybody's here to accomplish. But the one thing I can't seem to figure out is why are you here? As he takes another swig from his goblet.
Luna's eye twitches. You want to know why I'm here? It's literally because you have all of the answers that I need so that I can start my own journey to take my own revenge.
Kay taps his fingers on the table. Yes, yes, I understand that. And I may have been a little withholding with information. He takes another swig. So, as a thank you for accompanying us thus far and giving me the least amount of heartache, this session's on the house. As he finishes the drink of wine in the goblet. Ask me whatever you'd like to know.
One, do you know about a cure about this lycanthropy?
I'm not sure I do. The only tales of lycanthropy are that of old legends. Howling at the moon and terrorizing villages. I've never seen a case so sporadic as yours. Any of the lycanthropes I know are a little more naturally grown, if you catch my drift. He leans into the table and he kind of turns his eye at you.
What do you mean by that? Naturally grown.
Lycanthropy is a disease, my friend, but it is not one that you can just catch. It's a birthright, if you will. He leans back in the chair. I knew of an old fanatic once, long ago, but she met rather unfortunate ends.
Unfortunate.
Trapped beneath the bottom of the Lich King's castle, never to see the light of day again, imprisoned for the rest of her pitiful existence.
And what kind of dabbling did she do in lycanthropy?
You know, the dabbling type. He twiddles his fingers at you in like a sparkle kind of motion. She had dreams of grandeur, I'll tell you that much. He dips his cup back in the bucket and starts a second sip. She had grand notions of creating an army of lichens through magic, though her research would never see the day of light. It never came to fruition. For well, like I said, there were heroes, and then there was her, and her cult of fanatics was abruptly shut down before it went anywhere. Yeah, he finishes his second cup.
Would you happen to know their name?
No, I don't. I don't remember what too all. I don't remember all too well what she went by or what the cult was called. But when we get to Dead End, I'm sure a couple of my research partners could help us out. They're better at keeping a list of things like this.
Fun.
Is that all? I'm not
For
gonna give you
now.
another free. He leans in. You won't be getting any more freebies. The next time you ask me any questions, it's gonna cost you.
Luna looks over at him and he goes, I do have one more question. It seems like you're pretty good at digging graves. How many have you dug in the past?
Cade drops his hand to the table and he leans back in the chair. Far too many, friend, but I'll let you in on a little secret. I only dig graves for people that deserve to rest in peace. And he gets up from the table and he starts working towards the door towards the top of the map.
Luna takes another swig.
As Cade gets to the door, he stops and he looks back at you, Luna. Hopefully a man like yourself will be better than a man like I. Don't make the same mistakes I did. The bodies don't ever seem to let you go. And as he walks to the door, he says, as the door closes behind him, you hear him say, get a good night's rest."
Luna takes one more swig and then goes for the bed.
Before Kade enters the room,
Okay.
Tyrum awakens from his meditation, right? It's been enough time, right?
It has been 4 hours. This was going to be the start of that. Yep.
Okay, so Tyrum drags Dimitri's body closer to the pool, and he also drags the gnome closer to the pool, like where Tyrum is. And then Tyrum casts Zone of Truth before Kade can enter the room.
Ooh. Okay.
And then he wakes up Dimitri and the gnome.
What does it look like for you when you cast Zone of Truth?
15 feet from where Tyrum places his palm on the tile. 15 feet around him, there is a flash of divine energy that makes itself present for a moment before it shrouds itself back into the regular area. And I need a charisma save for Dimitri and the gnome, and for Kade when he enters the room.
Hey, Ceras, what's your charisma modifier?
I'm pretty sure it's a -1. Charisma. Yeah, it's a -1.
Well, the gnome rolled a dirty one, and Tyrum, what is your charisma modifier?
My charisma modifier is a +2.
Well, the Dimitri rolled a dirty 20. That's insane. I rolled a 2 and an 18.
Okay, well, yeah, Dimitri definitely passes.
That's fine, Cades. What does that mean if they pass?
If they pass, they can still tell lies.
Really?
Yep.
Holy shit. Cade rolled a 15.
8 is not affected by the zone of truth.
Hold up. It says on a failed save, a creature can't speak or deliver a lie while in the radius. So he can't
And
deliberately lie, huh?
no, if Kade fails, then Kade cannot lie deliberately.
Right.
But Kade passed, so
Yeah,
Kade can deliberately lie.
yeah, I guess it doesn't.
But also, Tyrum knows that you passed.
Ah.
And Tyrum
Ah,
also knows that Dimitri passed.
okay.
Hmm.
All right.
um,
Before Cade
the
walks in, is it?
the gnome also knows that the spell has been casted on himself. An affected
Yeah.
creature is aware of the spell and can thus avoid answering questions to which it would normally respond with a lie. Such a creature can be evasive in its answers as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth.
Okay. I will keep that in mind as I go and take a bathroom break. Meet back here in 10 minutes.
Sure.
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 Sweet.
Sure.
Guys, we are getting into the meat and potatoes now.
Getting like my ultimate avenging angel thing at level 20, but honestly, I don't know. It just seems more like a waste to add one level of fighter instead of just committing to paladin.
Are we
Well,
planning?
I'm glad that you had this conversation so that
Are
you
we
really figured this out.
guys planning a multi-class? Because I'm gonna multi-kick your ass. Oh,
Ryan's already
Uh,
multi-classing.
fucking loser.
Well, I have feats from fighter. I don't know if that's the same thing.
no, I don't think he's only leveled up in monk. I thought.
Well, I have a fighter feat, the parry.
Yeah, you'll get fighter feats because you're a monk and you have martial arts, but you don't get like fighter traits that are class specific unless you take the class.
Okay.
Hey, DM, am I allowed
Yeah.
to use my optional features?
Yes, you are, because that is what I did to Simon in the last campaign, and I would be wrong to deny you that because that symbol that was definitely an additional paladin class spell.
Sure fucking was.
Sure, fucking was. So I'd be wrong to deny you your birthright.
Birthright.
Where do you see that? Is it under features and traits, or is it in the builder?
So when
What
you
in the
go
builder?
to it's in the builder, and it literally like as soon as you see it's like class features and then optional feature manager.
You currently have no available optional class features.
They gave Artificer everything from the jump. They were like, you don't get any bonuses. You're already fucking a one-man cannon army.
Yeah.
All the guns, all the
So
bullets.
at this moment in time, it's just. Oh, actually, hold on.
Now
Never
I'm
mind.
curious, what did Draven have that I ignored?
And we're doing a long rest here, right?
You guys are. Tyrum took his meditation, and Kade and Tyrum are about to have an escapade over the night. I think.
Indeed.
Indeed. So yeah, everybody's pretty much sleeped up for the night. And after me and Tyrum finish this, we'll start the next day. Because, neither one of us has to sleep.
Cade doesn't have to sleep?
No, he does not. I've been hinting at it this whole time about him pacing and being awake at all times and never sleeping. Like even when you guys go to sleep, he's there doing shit.
Listen,
I
Michaelo
thought he
may be
just
a good
wasn't taking his rests because
Yeah.
he seems tired all the time.
Michaelo may be a good investigator, but I'm not.
Michelo's got the stats, not Ryan. Ryan's eternal dice are rolling
Ryan has a
poorly right now.
negative 12 in investigation. All right.
Shit, man. He is in fact tired all the time too, though.
Raven
Tough.
did not have anything cool.
Oh, that's depressing. All right, Tyrum, is there anything you'd like to do in this room before Kade enters?
Stroke it furiously.
Stroke it furiously over the corpses. Yeah.
No, I guess since Zone of Truth did what it did, I have to just live with it.
Kade enters the sanctum and he stands to this side of the pool. He looks at you, Tyrum. Interesting. Magic? Almost immediately. You've been awake for what, 5 minutes?
It's worth a shot.
Can't argue with you there. Magic always has a tendency to get things done. He pulls out a cigar.
Tyrum looked at the gnome and then looks back at Kade. You want to take the lead on the gnome, or you want me to?
Absolutely. He cracks his hands as he stretches his arms, and he pulls out the cigar that he's been smoking since you met him, and he lights it up. He starts puffing, and he crouches down after a big inhale, and he shakes the gnome awake. And the gnome slowly picks his composure up as he opens his eyes. Where am I? Where am I? And like the foam kind of dribbles off his mouth as he starts moving around. Let me go. Don't tell you guys anything. And in mid freak out, Kade blows the smoke in his face. Tyrum, please roll me a wisdom save for both you and Dimitri.
Oof. Okay. Is it one save for both, or I have to roll both of them?
Roll them separately, but you guys have the same modifier, so if you'd be so kind.
It's a wisdom save.
Yep, it is a wisdom save, yes.
Okay, well Tyrum got a 21 and Dimitri got a 9.
Fuck off. Dimitri fails. Tyrum did not. Tyrum, you feel an ominous pressure as it fills the room. You don't feel affected by it. You notice that things feel heavy, but it means nothing to a strong, strapping paladin like yourself. However, you instantly notice that as Kade starts to laugh, Dimitri and the gnome start losing their minds. They look like they've seen a ghost. Dimitri starts kicking his feet, trying to back away as he's terrified by what he's looking at. And the gnome is silent. He is quiet and he is frightened. Kade whispers into the gnome's ear. See, that's more like it. Now that you understand the situation you're in, we're gonna have a little talk. Tyrum, you notice that as he pulls a drag from his cigar, little bits of electricity sparkle from the tip of the flame.
Tyrum leans against the wall, his arms folded.
Kade unties the gnome, and instantly the gnome makes a bolt for it. And as he starts running, Kade calls over to you, Tyrum. Grab him, please, and kindly escort him back as the gnome tries to shuffle you.
Roll me a contested strength.
Yeah. He rolled a 6.
Okay. Tyrum rolled a 13, so
Tyrum, you grab the gnome.
Tyrum drags the gnome back to Kade and kind of throws him at Kade's feet.
Much appreciated, friend. See, he crouches down back to the gnome that is now prone. Now that's what's gonna happen if you try to run away again. So let's just save ourselves the trouble. And without another word, Kade grabs the face of this gnome and stuffs it in the dead body water. Tyrum, you see the gnome struggle as he tries to catch his breath, and he's under there for 30 to 45 seconds. The bubbles begin getting slower as the gnome continues fighting, and Kade smiles as this poor gnome's got his head in the water, and he pulls it out. All right, then. Time for some questions. I'm going to ask you just a few things, and if you lie to me, I'm going to put you back in there. You'll you'll never get anything out of me. I won't tell you anything. I won't do it. They'll kill me. And as he says that, Kade dunks his head back into the water. This time for a few seconds longer.
Tyrum raises his eyebrows in amusement because he knows that this gnome truly believes that he's not gonna tell Kade anything.
That he does. Kade pulls his head back out of the water. First of all, young man, I'd appreciate it if you didn't yell so much. It sends the wrong idea. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to figure out anything I need to know. And so long as you comply, well, this won't hurt. Do you like breathing through both of your nostrils? The gnome nods. He looks very scared. Good. What brought you to this temple today, friend? Uh, the gnome stops in silence and he looks back at you, Tyrum. And he's honestly not sure who he's more afraid of. The guy with the magical laugh or the gentleman that literally will carry him back over here to this madman. Um, the gnome says nothing. He says nothing and he sits on his hands. Ah, silent treatment. Personally, it's my favorite. You know, it's only at the beginning are people ever this quiet. Uh, Kade puts his hand on the gnome's arm, and and Tyrum, it looks as if Kade is going to be very comforting to this gnome all of a sudden. He looks very sincere in his face, and then Kade yanks from right below the shoulder and pulls with an extreme force as he dislocates the gnome's shoulder. He does not like that. Kade puts his paw back on the dislocated shoulder, and he forces it back in as the gnome cries out in agony and rolls over to his side. See, when I was on the seas, I had a bad habit of cracking shellfish. I enjoyed crab. The crunching noise is what made me the happiest. The meat inside was always the reward. And as a predator, you know you'll always get it, but the crunch lets you know that it's worth the fight. Who are you working for? Um, the gnome crying, face on the tile floor. He's got tears streaming down his face as he looks at you, Tyrum, and he is pissed, but he says nothing. Kade stands up and he takes a drag from the cigar. Tyrum, once again, you see small sparks of electricity uh, flaking from his cigar.
Tyrum takes his helmet off and kind of rests it at his feet. And he continues to watch and kind of shrugs his shoulders at Kade, like, "What are you gonna do? you gotta get more creative than this."
Cade puts the tip of the cigar, right above the water as he crouches down next to the gnome who's crying. He says, "Watch this." He dips the tip of the cigar, and a giant electrical shock starts boiling the water. You see electricity run through all of this pool. The paladins that were in there, their armor begins bubbling. It looks like the current of electricity is running rampant in the pool. And Kade looks over at the gnome. Now you see that. The next part, I do this again. Only I submerge you first. The first time I do it, you'll lose a little bit of feeling in your hands. The next time I do it, you'll lose feeling in your legs. And I will continue to dunk you in this fried water until you're nothing more than a blubbering pile of ignorance and drool. I'm going to ask you one more time. Who do you work for? The gnome starts crying. Please don't put me in this water. I'll never be able to artifice again. My tinkerers, my tools. I'll never be able to use magic again. He just starts snotting and crying at the mouth. And as he begins bursting into a ball of tears, Kade, no time to reminisce, and he smacks him on both cheeks really quickly. Focus. The information. And the gnome looks at you, Tyrum, and he mouths, please help me. I'll give you whatever you want.
Help me, help you. He has questions. They need answering. I think if you just answer his questions, he'll be nice.
You don't understand. If I answer that question, they'll kill me anyways. Kill my father. What am I supposed to do? This was supposed to be an easy job. They were supposed to just transport people to the buyer. We drop them off at the castle in the marsh, and then we go about our way making enough money. I needed the money. Please help me. And as he screams that at you, Kade says, wrong answer. That's not a name. And he dunks the gnome's face into the water. The gnome begins shaking and almost seizuring as a current of electricity runs throughout his body and is grounded into the tile. Kade then lets his head up. That's strike number one. And he looks at you, Tyrum. I can't feel my fingers.
Then give us a name.
He stops to think everything over and regret all of his life choices as he looks at you, Tyrum. But he says, I work for Roman Sionis. We have a fire in the marsh, but if they find me, they'll kill me. Please get me away from this man. And as he says that, Kade kicks the gnome into the wall in front of you. And I mean, like, boots the gnome really fucking hard into the wall. The gnome slams into the wall and then onto his stomach. And Kade walks over. I suggest you do not lie to me, as he picks the gnome up with one hand off the ground. Roman Sionis would have nothing to do with this. Human trafficking? That's not his forte. Who's the buyer? And he looks at you, Tyrum. It's Kydros' church. They need survivors. They need people. Some grand experiment, but that's all I know, I swear.
Tyrum looks over at Kade. He's being honest.
Kade tightens his grip around the gnome. What, the magic from earlier?
Huh, I didn't think you picked up on it.
I'd be a poor information broker if I didn't. As he turns the gnome and dangles him over the pool. So, Tyrum, we have one Roman Sionis working with one Church of Kydros. How do you feel right now?
Who gave you the outfits?
He says nothing. His face, tears running down, his hands twitching at the lack of natural motion. He looks hurt and distraught, but he says nothing. Man,
Tyrum's eyes glow bright neon green. His voice gets to a thunderous tone, and he slams his warhammer on the ground. Who gave you those outfits?
The gnome continues his silence. Kade then turns his body and dangles him in front of you. You know, Tyrum, me personally, when people are quiet like this, I like to assume that they're more afraid of somebody else. He holds the gnome out in front of you. Care to remind him why he should be afraid of you?
Tyrum then makes a thumbs up motion and then and points it down to the water.
Mm,
Kade dunks the gnome back in the water as he ashes more of the cigar. Electricity running through the current, and the gnome struggling all he can to get out of it. But Cade's grip is too strong. He slowly stops flailing in the legs. You see his elbows and his shoulders struggling, but below the knee he stops moving and he pulls his head out. That's strike two. Any more of this frying and you'll be filleted. You catch my drift? If you want to be able to do anything after this, I suggest you tell the nice man what he wants to know. The gnome stops. Oh, God.
No, nothing.
Please.
Nothing.
The gnome stops, dangling, pretty defeated. He didn't have much HP, and this is just rattling his brain. Uh, Tyrum, he looks at you with a straight face. We dropped the survivor shelf with Lois, the relentless. Some project. She needs a mass amount of supporters to the Kaijo's church. Anybody even willing to seek refuge is being sent there. This was just another outpost for transporting poor fools that didn't know. But they're all being sent to Lois. She needs them for something. And I don't know what else. That's all I know, I swear. His hand still twitching. His ring finger and his middle finger are no longer moving. Both hands.
You got anything else to ask him, Kade?
Kade ponders for a moment. He turns him back. What was Roman Sionis doing in Dusty Coins? Say, a week ago? He was looking for his dog. Somebody seemed to get it away from the mayor of New Hampshire, and the Black Mask wanted all opportunity to seize the weakness. I don't know how it ended up in Dusty Coins, but he accepted some meeting. Some family member of the Montfleur, the crime syndicate, some higher up arranged the meeting. That's all I know, I swear.
Why are the
Kade.
bootstraps coming after their own?
Their own. The bootstraps are under new management. The world just doesn't know it yet. If they want power. They want so much power. Snot dribbling from his nose, his eyes full of tears. He can't even see you clearly right now. He just breaks out bawling. Kade tosses the gnome at your feet. Well, that's all I've got.
Tyrum picks up his warhammer and steps on the gnome's back. You have committed several crimes against the innocent and against the Church of Kydros, and for that, you shall be persecuted.
Please, please, I did it for my father. If it wasn't me, if it wasn't this, he'd be dead. I had no other choice, please. My fate was sealed the day I was born. Please.
You failed him. And that's a dirty 20 to hit.
It hits. Roll me damage.
That is 11 damage.
How do you finish this gnome?
Tyrum swings his warhammer as if he was playing croquet directly
Oh
on the side of the gnome's head.
As you bring your warhammer to a crushing swing motion at the gnome's head. You actually knock his little body into Kade as Kade reflectively dodges it, and the body falls into the water with the dead paladins. The electricity fries it. You see the currents run through the body as it zaps and then begins sinking. The gnome is now, in fact, sleeping with the fishes. Kade looks at you. What? No prayer? I thought you holy types like to send them off with proper burial rites.
There is no proper burial for scum like him.
Kade
Tyrum takes
turns.
Dimitri at the boots.
Dimitri is still terrified of Kade. He's been failing his wisdom saves. Hey, he just watched that whole thing. Comrade,
Tyrum crouches down to make eye contact with Dimitri.
no, Tyrum, I do not know what you want from me, but keep me away from that monster, please. You cannot let me end up like that gnome. I have done nothing wrong. You have to believe me.
See, the problem is, Dimitri, I don't know if you're telling me the truth or not.
Truth? You want the truth? You know what Fredrickson told me before we were defeated by that knoll, by that fiend over there? Do you want to know what he said? He said that man works for the Black Dragon, and anybody associated with Moors is evil.
Who's Moors?
Dimitri just stares at you in utter shock. And before he can get a word out, Kade chimes in. A very large reptile, one of the less friendly composures. He's he is the leader of this here territory. Moors's marsh belongs to Moors. It's his
Tyrum remembers the conversations that they had before they entered the area. Um, Tyrum looks over at Kade. What do you think?
Kade puts his hand on his snout. I think your friend here doesn't know left from right. And wherever that wound came from is more what I'm worried about personally. But you ask him whatever you'd like. He's not wrong.
Tyrum picks Dimitri up and throws him so his head is dangling over the electrified water.
As you do this, Kade dabs the cigar into the water. It stays lit every time, but more electricity runs through it every time he dips that cigar. The
Where
meat.
is the Raven Guard?
I told you, I do not know. I was attacked by that creature when I got here. I have no notion of who I was before this. My life as it stands now, I was a simple priest protecting good people with a man I thought to be a good person. I do not know.
Tyrum sheathes his warhammer and pulls Dimitri up. He brushes his shoulder and he lets his restraints off.
Dimitri, holding both of his wrists, he takes 10 steps back. He moves back away from you instantly, like jumps back. You will keep me away from that monster. You didn't see what he did in that room. There is no reason for a creature to move that unnaturally. He is not good. And if you do not believe me, he will be your downfall. Cade gestures and puts his hand on his chest, and I'm hurt that you think so poorly of me. I took rather good care of you in that room, if I do say so myself. He gestures to some of the bullet wounds that have like grazed Dimitri's side and leg. Kade looks over at Tyrum. I don't usually miss so badly. You know this better than he would know this. You show a guy kindness one time.
Tyrum uses Blessing of the Raven Queen and teleports behind Dimitri.
As you teleport behind Dimitri, you how does it look when you teleport? Is it like a poofing, like a nightcrawler kind of thing, or is it like a step out the shadows?
Yeah, it's like a black mist sort of. You kind of hear like you hear ravens cawing, and you see like some like magical feathers, and then Tyrum appears where he is intending to appear.
Few
It's like a
feathers flutter.
genjutsu.
It's
It's
a
like a
You're Itachi.
yeah, it's Itachi's genjutsu or yeah.
Yes.
And
Kate,
when Tyrum teleports behind him,
Playing Dungeons and Dragons right now, shut up.
he gets right in Dimitri's ear. And what about this? Does this scare you?
Dimitri looks at you. No, no, it does not. I am still very much afraid of that man. Kate starts walking very slowly in pace around the bend, his hands in his pocket. Of little old me. What about me is so fearful? Do I make you nervous? Dimitri is actually like pressed into you, Jay. If he could be inside your skin, he would. He is trying very hard to get behind you, to not be in front of you, to not be close to Kade. He is terrified. God damn it.
Tyrum just kind of like holds him there and says, "Well, if you think that he's clueless, and he really says he's clueless, and you did believe in this faith, then maybe there is use for you."
Cade chimes in. Yes, and the use for me would be you telling me more about that monster. You see, that gentleman has something I need. Dimitri looks at you. No, you can't. You can't go after that monster. It is just as much horrible as it is intelligent. It is a beast of one I've never seen before. It's and Cade chimes in. It's a skoga, a capine, a thing of legends. I understand that. I need his antlers, and we're gonna go get them. So tell me where he is. Uh, Dimitri just fucking pissing himself a little bit. I do not know that he attacked us by the falls, roughly 5 miles ahead of this temple, towards the inner lands of the marsh. Cade stops and puts his hand on his chin. That would be going in the opposite direction of where we need to go. He looks at you, Tyrum. Does it seem wise to bring a little girl into a dangerous marsh?
Not certainly, but I don't think Dimitri can do any protecting of his own.
He starts pacing back and forth. You're right. You're right. And I can't trust some scaredy cat with this. It'd be absurd. But if we don't go now, we might not be able to catch this beast. He stops and he looks at you, Tyrum. You know, this thing has eluded me for many years now. Every time I'm this close, it just slips through my fingers. He stops.
You've hunted this before?
I've been hunting this. I told you. I have a checklist of things I need, and he's on it. I've had this checklist for quite some time. And Cade kind of looks a little disappointed. You can tell he's embarrassed as somebody who specializes in finding things, as he didn't find what he's looking for. You can just see it on his face.
It did. Tyrum turns Dimitri around so he's facing him. And he pulls the Shadar Kai knife out from his little pack, and he hands it back. Yeah, the one that I took from him. And he hands it to Dimitri. Whether you believe it or not, you were recruited under false pretenses to an order that is dead. But if you truly believe in the faith and the teachings, then take your weapon and guide these elderly innocent out of the swamp. It is no place for you, and it is no place for them.
I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, this is why great minds think alike. He walks over and he puts his hand on Dimitri's shoulders. Tell you what, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a gift. Since my friend here is being so considerate, you are gonna be in charge. You get these people the dead end, and my team will take care of it from there. Cade pulls out a small piece of paper and writes down a couple words as he slides it into Dimitri's front pouch. And then he hands him a small stone. It has one singular rune on it, and it doesn't look like anything more than an ordinary rock with a little scribing in it. Use that at night and point it towards the stars. When it glows, it'll show you the direction to dead end. It should lead you there safely, but if not, you've only got elderly and children. I imagine they won't be doing a whole lot of fighting. Wait until it's daytime. Try to get out of here as fast as you can. And Kade gives him a little he smacks both shoulders in a I believe in you kind of way, and he smiles. And remember, you're only alive because Tyrum willed it. As he turns it around and begins walking out of the room, he brushes Dimitri with his tail, and he begins walking on with his hands in his pocket. Tyrum, encourage your friend. He's gonna need it to get out of this place. I'll think more about what we should do, but this. He starts stuttering a little bit. He looks very tired. He growls. We'll figure this out in the morning. As Kade exits the room.
You truly know nothing from your past life, Dimitri.
Dimitri drops to his knees. No, no, nothing. He's holding the knife in his hand. I wish I could remember. This is such a beautifully crafted knife. I imagine that whoever gave this to me meant many positive things, but I know nothing. Not of who I am or where I come from. I only have this place.
Shadarkai's blade is meant to only kill.
Well, it is a good thing that I have given up my ways as a Shadarkai. I follow a new faith, one that does not feel so soaked in blood. He looks up at you, but Tyrum, how do you walk this faith, so burdened by the sins of the lives that you carry with you? He looks at you in earnest. How do you stay so strong in faith, covered in so much blood?
I've lived many years, Dimitri. I've learned plenty of things, and you must truly accept what you believe to be the truth. Whether it is objectively or isn't, it's a different story.
Dimitri stops and looks down at the knife. I hope to achieve a similar sense of wisdom as you, comrade. You know, you remind me much of Frederickson in that way. He always seemed so sure of himself, so ready to make things happen.
It's what a follower of Dason would believe. Cocky and conniving.
Cocky he was. He was not conniving. I think that he genuinely meant to help these people.
You have much to learn, Dimitri. As Tyrum walks past Dimitri, trust no one. When you get to dead end, I will enlighten you more on what it means to be a member of this faith, if that is still a path you truly wish to follow.
He stops and he looks at you as you walk away. How am I supposed to follow this path if I cannot trust you? I trusted Fredrickson. It cost me everything that I know.
Tyrum picks up his helmet and puts it down and puts it on his head. Well, seeing as I didn't kill you just now when I could have easily done it, I figure you might as well know I don't really want to kill you, but I definitely could.
Dimitri, he drops his eyebrows a little bit in a kind of a sassy way. Yes, but I know an alternative motive when I see one, and anybody working with that mongrel can only be good to a point. And he turns his head away from you.
Tyrum looks down at his feet. Sometimes the enemy of my enemy can give me useful information. If you ever recollect on Shadar Kai and the Raven Guard, you might know a thing or two about learning information.
As you say this, Tyrum, you notice that there are a couple feathers, three to be exact, falling in the middle of the room. They seem to have blown in from one of the upper levels in the room, like up in the ceiling area. You didn't hear anything scratching around, but the three feathers fall and touch the water. One of them sinks. One of them floats towards Dimitri. The third one falls perfectly on the stem of the feather so that it stands straight up in the middle of the water. That's it. That's just something you saw.
I was
You
gonna
don't have
say,
to.
can
You
I
don't have
roll
to.
like history or something?
Sure.
That's a 12.
In Shadar Kai culture, it is believed that the Raven Queen will send you messages, imagery, and random prophecies. Sometimes they come to you as visions. Sometimes they come to you as interactions in the world. Maybe it is something from her. Maybe it isn't. But you've noticed small things like this before. If it truly is a prophecy or trying to tell you something, you'll see more signs.
Hiram grips his warhammer a little tighter and then continues to walk out towards the others.
As you leave the chamber, you hear a deep crying. You hear Dimitri crying at the loss of his friend, at the shakenness of his life, and the understanding that he has no idea who he is. And well, now he really has no idea who he is. His one saving grace turned out to be a phony. You hear him ugly crying as you walk away. And with
Hiram
that,
kind of Hiram kind of hunches his shoulders as he actually kind of feels like he might relate to Dimitri, and it
mm,
it hurts to see him suffer. But at the same time, Tyrum must continue his composure and continue his demeanor.
gotta stay strong, the stoic type does. But now that you're done with that, you're the only one other than Kade who's wandered off that's awake. Uh, the party will be asleep for the next 10 hours, and, you know, you do what you'd like. What are some things that Tyrum likes to do when the rest of the party's asleep?
Hiram is probably Tyrum's probably just practicing his martial arts, his discipline. He's practicing his skills in combat, and not just in not just the paladin fighting styles, but also the his old Raven Guard fighting styles.
Ooh. Tyrum, you make your way to the courtyard as you begin your practicing, and you notice that Bucket is standing very still, like scarily still. And you notice there's an old woman sleeping on the bench on the far side next to it, what appears to be fresh dirt. And you begin your practice in earnest. And unless there's something else you'd like to do, the hall's filled with sleep and soundness. The light strumming of a lute plays and echoes through the hallways. The grunting of a sword swinging and fist punching as Tyrum practices. The night goes on, and finally the two moons set across the horizon as daybreak happens. And yeah, I imagine that's when everybody would be waking up.
Uh, Sarah silently opens her mouth in a wide yawn and stretches her arms out. Without the
Can
sound.
you can you yawn in Russian for me without the sound, of course? It's written on the board.
It's written on the board. Wow, that was weird. Yeah.
Luna, you have a slight hangover as you drank a lot of wine before bed. Um, Ceras, you went to sleep in the room with the children, and you noticed that when you wake up, Reitou and Alaina are cuddling. Elena's holding Reitou like a stuffed animal.
Ugh. Uh, well, I let her sleep, and I walk into the like the common area to see if anybody's doing anything.
I see. Oh wait. You were already in the common area. You
Oh
went to
yeah, I
sleep in
was,
Bucket.
wasn't
That's right. I was say no wonder I couldn't find your fucking puck. Never mind. You don't see Elena at all. You wake up in Bucket.
I?
You notice that Tyrum is practicing his
No,
martial
Tyrum
status.
stops before it gets to like the time where people are waking up.
Oh, where's Tyrum now?
No, he's probably still sitting in the courtyard, just gathering his thoughts.
Luna pops a good berry for the hangover
Nice.
and gets up and walks out into the courtyard. No, hold on. Where's the grabby thingy? Doop.
Michaelo, you hear Luna as he exits the room, and he kind of knocks you awake a little bit.
I wake up and Michaelo goes, "Oh, hi, Luna."
Morning, Michaelo. Luna walks past.
Real. Before we go any further, we can do like a little morning skit if y'all like, but I don't have anything in particular planned after this. So if y'all would like to wrap it up for the night, we can. Otherwise, I got a
Ooh.
couple things we could do, but that's up to y'all.
I've got stuff I want to do.
Okay.
So do I, actually.
Keep fixing Michaelo's gun.
Then you fix Michaelo's gun and give it to the old guy?
It wasn't. It was still broken.
It wasn't broken. It was just very
Shittily
shitty.
thrown together. Yeah, it worked. It just
still
didn't.
had rusty parts and
I
shit.
thought it
it-
didn't have any ammunition in it.
I gave him one bullet.
No.
I loaded it and gave it to him.
Interesting.
I'm keeping track of the amount of bullets I have. I currently have 3 bullets left. Oh yeah, did anybody else in that big fight use a gun?
No.
I don't think so.
The artificer had a cannon.
Yeah, but those are like magical cannons. They don't really. I mean, unless you want to, unless you want me. Ceras is gonna go look for the scraps of that cannon. Also, she's gonna add that cannon to her inventory if she can find it.
It blew up if I'm not mistaken, but you can find the pieces.
Nah, I'm gonna take the pieces.
Tyrum is going to reread that list that Michaelo gave him.
Luna is going to walk up to Tyrum. He's got a question to ask him.
Luna, you approach Tyrum as he is reading these papers.
Tyrum, I have a few questions in a favor to ask of you.
Tyrum takes his helmet off and sets it beside him. What is it, Luna?
So, I heard you were meditating the other day, and as a druid, one who is in some attunement with nature, I get the gist of what meditating is, but it's been some time, and I could use some guidance. So you know how I've been having these odd bouts where I transform? I'm trying to see if I can tap into that and use it. And I feel as if I lose control. I think it would be a good idea to have you and somebody else there to contain me.
Can Michaelo hear this?
You can roll me a percent. What's your passive perception? Josh, are you saying it quietly? Is this something
I'm
you want to
just
hide?
talking to him normally.
Nah,
12.
Michaelo, you can hear it. You're sitting over the courtyard. You're fine.
Michaelo goes, "Can I help?"
I look at Tyrum.
What do you expect? Are you asking me to watch over you in the off chance that you transform and lose your control again?
Yes, that's the gist of what I'm asking.
Hiram looks down at his at his hands. Luna, I'm responsible for myself and at least ensuring that Kate also makes it to wherever we're supposed to go. I have a responsibility to protect Alaina till we get to where we need to go. I cannot divert more energy to your recklessness, whether it is intended or not.
What happens if I transform in the middle of combat and I attack somebody and I can't control myself?
Then I can only hope that you are not around any allies. You must seek your own control. It is you who's the beast. The beast is not you.
Thanks for your time. Luna turns and walks away. Doo, doo, doo.
Michaelo,
And sits on the bench.
Michaelo was going to be like, "Hey, Tyrum, you could have been a little nicer."
What do you want me to say?
I mean, we're friends, right?
Tyrum rolls his eyes. I'm not sure I'm friends with anyone here.
Michaelo kind of like slaps him on the back and goes, "Oh man, ugh. That's funny."
Ceras, you can also hear this because you're in the room.
And Michaelo's going to go, "You remind me of my brother." And he's going to look at Tyrum.
Who? How does your?
He's
How
gonna
do I
go,
remind you of
wait,
your brother?
never mind. You don't remind me of my brother. He was nicer. And then he's going to walk away.
Tyrum rolls his eyes and he picks up the note again and reads it. What does the list say again?
So, in the paperwork that Michaelo brought to you, you have a paper record of all the money that has come in and out of this small temple. You also have a list of every person that has been saved and delivered to wherever it is they are going.
Does it say where they're going?
It does. The list describes of a hideout on the far side of Morse's Marsh. It is supposedly a rather large abandoned castle, but it's not exactly easy to get to. You read on into the pages that describe a perilous journey and at least a day and a half worth of travel to no. It is a perilous journey. It'll take you at least 3 days to get there, and it is on the far side of Morse's March, which is directly opposite of the day and a half's travel you have from here to Dead End. It's noted in the paperwork.
Tyrum folds the piece of paper and puts it in his sack. And he touches like the bridge of his nose and closes his eyes. Michaelo gave me this information in confidence, but if I don't tell Kade, we'll never go. I don't know what the fuck to do.
Are you whispering this? Are you saying this out loud? Is this
This is mentally. This is all mentally. And I mean, Ceras could, if Ceras was looking at Tyrum, she could see that he is like visibly stressed.
Yeah, I think if he starts like pacing after she's kind of, you know, I think Ceres is going to clank up behind him on Bucket, and write, "What is wrong, strong man?" and put on her board.
Tyrum speaks to Ceras, but he uses his hands.
No way! No way!
He says in sign language, "We may need to make another stop to investigate what this was all about."
Ceres, you can see that obviously there's a she's stupid excited, but she sees you're talking about something serious, so she's like smiling and then going like, "Oh, I gotta be serious," and then smiling and then kind of, "Oh, I gotta be serious," and she's like, she's signing to you. What kind of stop, and what exact mystery do we have on our hands here? Is it about the church here?
Michaelo, you see Ceras and Tyrum throwing hand signs at each other like gang symbols or jutsus.
I guess Michaelo's gonna walk over and be like, and kind of just like look at them. He doesn't say anything. He's just looking.
Tyrum looks over at Michaelo, and he puts a finger to his lips.
Michaelo does like a little ninja like symbol, like oh,
And then
like he's a part of whatever you guys are doing.
He doesn't realize
He can't
doesn't know
speak
we're
sign language.
communicating. He doesn't know. He doesn't even know we're communicating. He just thinks we're making cool signs at each other.
Tyrum tells Ceras, "If I reveal this information to you, I need to know that you won't tell Kade immediately."
What do you mean by not tell Kade immediately?
Tyrum nods his head towards Michaelo and says, "I was given information about this bootstrap gang, and where they were taking the innocents."
This is in sign language, right?
Yeah.
Michaelo does like another hand sign
When
when you looked at him.
Ninja.
And she says, "And you're afraid that he will decide to not do and go and save these people if instead of going and finding more?"
I'm afraid of Kade's judgment.
You're a silly guy. You're strong man. Strong man. Kate's just a goof. Him judging you? Everyone's got something to judge about everyone. And I know that very personally. I think it's best to not worry about what others think.
Tyrum kind of nods his head. It wasn't that in his mind that wasn't exactly the answer that he was looking for, but he looks over at Michaelo
He does another
and
sign language. He does another sign.
Michaelo, we might need to tell Kate about this ledger.
Michaelo says, "Hey, I only gave it to you. If you want to tell him, you can tell him."
What is he talking about? Telling Kate about these ledgers? Oh, of course. This is where the people are going, right?
Tyrum nods his head.
Well, why wouldn't he want to take? Why wouldn't he? Well, I suppose we have other things to do, but if there's some sort of incentive or reward, I'm sure Cade will be all for it.
Tyrum nods his head again. That's one of the few things that has sort of made sense to him since this journey started. And he signs back, thank you, Ceras.
Michaelo also does a little hand sign.
She signs. You're welcome. Here, I will teach Michaelo a hand sign. And she goes over to Michaelo and takes out the board, and writes, "Repeat after me." And then she takes her thumb, puts it on her forehead, and goes all the way across.
Michaelo follows.
And she says, and she writes on the board, "Michaelo, you rude man. Very funny, very funny. Goodbye." And then she gets on Bucket, and
Tyrum scoffs, and then he signs to Ceras to keep the fact that both of them can communicate in sign language between them.
Sounds good.
Michaelo kind of just looks at his thumb and goes like, "What the
He
fuck?"
keeps doing it.
Keeps doing it.
Out of character. What did you just tell Michaelo to do?
It's like saying black, but really rude.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Tyrum like walks up to Michaelo and like grabs his wrist and like gently like pushes his wrist down. Don't do that sign.
Michaelo is going to ask, what does it mean?
It's kind of like a ninja curse word.
Michaelo goes, those are pretty bad.
Those are pretty bad. Yes. Ninja curse words.
Michaelo then looks back up at Tyrum, gives him a smile and goes, "Thanks, friend."
Tyrum walks back to his bench and puts his he grabs his helmet and tries to find Kade.
As you begin looking for Kade, Ceras, you notice that Alaina finally woke up. Out walks a very cranky young elven girl dragging a giant tiger cub as if it were a stuffed animal. Reitou is too lazy to escape and is still rather sleepy, and Alaina is holding Reitou by like the lower chest as his feet dangle, and this little girl walks out with bedhead and a giant cat. And
I must protect her.
As she walks out, she goes, "Miss Ceras, I need help brushing my hair."
Oh,
She's still half asleep. The other kids are still sleeping. She's just kind of standing at the doorway, holding Raitu.
Of course, dear. Of course, dear. And she of course takes out her artificer enhanced brush.
Oh no!
It's a curler and an iron and a brush all in one.
It's a Swiss Army hair.
Go gadget hairbrush.
Yeah, it's a Swiss Army hairbrush.
Go gadget hairbrush.
She sits her down and gets on top of Bucket and starts brushing her hair.
Alaina starts nodding off as you
Sitting
as you
under the
push.
tree.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So
Alaina sits under the tree as you stand on Bucket and brush her hair. Raitu is kind of like Raitu is sitting in front of her, like on its butt though, like sitting up like it's people because Elena's holding him up like he's people.
Mm,
Tyrum, you sit on the bench watching Ceras brush Elena's hair.
Said Tyrum roots for
Michaelo,
Kade.
oh yeah, that's right. You did say that. Okay, you walked off. My mistake. You disappeared. You went for a little walkie walk. Um, where do you look for him first?
Um, I guess. I guess I'm gonna. Oh, why is my roll 20 bugging the fuck out?
Oh, I was messing with it. I'm sorry.
No. I'm trying to zoom in and zoom out.
Um,
And it was not working. I guess Tyrum is gonna go check where like everybody else was sleeping at. So
you,
like, yeah.
yeah, you search the back rooms. You don't see him. You search the storage room to the left of that. You notice one of the survivors is like sleeping on a pile of like flour. Oh, this guy,
Tyrum
this
just Tyrum just is quiet. It quietly moves past him.
I'd make you roll a stealth if I didn't think this guy was like trauma sleeping in there. So, he's probably not getting up until he's getting ready. You search the next room. You see the two elderly people, the other two elderly people that are not the wife, sleeping on these couches as they did not want to sleep in the children's room with the tiger.
Tyrum just walks past him. Doesn't really say anything.
Uh, you notice a couple like holy symbols and a couple scriptures on the wall as you enter the room that Cade fought Fredrickson in. It's got its scars from battle. There are slashes cut into the wall, the furniture tossed around, papers on the floor, and then as you stand in the middle of the room, you see four splatters of blood. One over the top right corner, the other three along the left wall. You can tell that standing where you were standing, Cade gunned down Fredrickson right there.
Tyrum just thinks back to his first conversations with Fredrickson, and he thinks to looking at this temple again for the first time in some years. Um, do any of the papers look important?
Um, what's your passive investigation?
My passive perception is 12. Oh, my passive investigation is 9.
Nah, the papers are just kind of scattered. They look like they could be old like scriptures that maybe somebody was rewriting to give to the kids.
Tyrum just Tyrum grabs the scriptures off of the walls, and he neatly places them in his sack with his other scriptures and teachings.
Tiram,
That he's gonna.
as you place these new scriptures in your pack, neatly rolled away, you notice that you still have that book you never read from the stranger. Uh, the story of Kairos and the other gods that may or may not have existed in the old times.
Tyrum grabs the book and examines it, and then he places that book back in his pack.
That book is very old.
Tyrum continues his search.
While Tyrum is looking for Kade, Ceras, Alaina is like groggily trying to avoid, like when you pull the knots out, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's out, Ceras, you're being rough. You know,
Mhm.
she, I had a bodyguard that, well, walked around with me a lot. His name was Mr. Adam. He used to brush my hair a lot. She starts sniffling.
Ceras like pats your head a little bit and continues to brush her hair.
Miss Ceras, does this make you my new bodyguard?
Ceres looks at her and nods and hugs her.
Uh, she
Yeah.
smiles and she kicks her feet as she kind of like squeezes Raitu like Rue's daughter does the unicorn from
Mm,
Despicable Me.
Poor bastard.
Yeah. Tyrum, you enter through the lot. You enter through the lodge's room. You don't see him in there, and finally, you come back into the main chamber, the main hallway that you guys entered through first, where all of the combat yesterday took place. And at the top of the chapel, up on the stage in the middle, you see Kade looking at the giant stained glass panels that line the backing of the stadium. He's got his hands in his pocket, his tail is droopy, and he's just kind of staring out the windows.
So got you so down in the dumps.
He looks back at you, Tyrum. I think I've put it together. I don't like what this means for little Alaina, but it makes too much sense. Uh, he sits down in the middle. Long ago, in a separate amount of travels, I had heard that there was another heir to the the Montfleur family, an elven crime syndicate from the Shrumite Kingdom. They were no bigger than, say, the Dreambanes from Armorfeld. Really a goon class level dealings, and honestly, they were scum. But after the orcs invaded, well, one Gabriel Monfleur capitalized in a way that I've never seen before. The elven crime family grew to much power in the Shumite kingdom. He was hailed as a hero among all elves. Cade stops and actually looks at you. Matter of fact, aren't you an elf? I'm surprised you haven't heard of him. He rolls his eyes. But back to my point. Legends had that he throws his hands up, legends in quotation marks. He once had three children, an eldest son, a random mysterious middle child known to be only as his mistress's child. And then of course, he has his daughter, Alaina, the one that cost him his wife. I'd always heard stories that his middle child died, but I, he stops and it makes too much sense. You ask the gnome who's targeting the Montfleur family. It's the Montfleur family. The Bootstrap gang works for him. But I don't see the connection to Roman. I don't understand why they would be adjourned.
Seems your boy's into some shady business.
No friend of mine, just another client I'm supposed to keep my eyes on.
Tyrum reaches into his sack and pulls out the ledger and holds it in his hand.
What's
Well,
that there? What's-
information broker. I've got some information to.
Cade stops. You're not going to make me pay for it, are you? Because I'm not buying it.
I don't know. It might help you answer your questions, and I mean, you of all people know knowledge is power.
You struck the nerve. Cade his shit-eating grin slowly sweeps across his face as he dashes his eyes at you. What's it gonna cost me, knight?
Don't bullshit me. Where were you the night of the storm?
Cade Cade looks at his feet. He looks at the back of the stained glass windows as he turns around. I was witnessing a murder. A friend of mine. He was taken from the world all too soon. I was halfway across the country, and before I knew it, I was looking after his daughter. That's where I was. Miles and miles and miles away from Buena Fortuna. It wasn't actually until I got back to Dead End a couple months ago that I learned the truth of that night.
Tyrum kind of Tyrum raises the paper in his hand and kind of cocks his head. Why did you leave Buena Fortuna?
Buena Fortuna, a beautiful city. The city of Kydros, the goddess of fate and fortune. A city where anybody can be anything. Or at least that's what they like to tell you. But I'm from the other side of Buena Fortuna. I'm from Soto, where all us rejects go. And even in the dirt, even in a place so disgusting, he looks down at his paws. I had no home to return to. And he looks back up at you. So I left. I left and I never came back. I didn't ask to be this way, you know. He gestures to his physique. He pulls on his fur, he wags his tail. Didn't always look like this. He rolls his eyes and snatches the paper out of your hands.
Yeah, close enough.
He walks over to you while telling you all of this sad, depressing story, and he takes the papers out of your hand. Any more questions, friend?
For now,
Roll
I'm safe.
for it.
Yeah, where's
Roll.
where's my sleight of hand? Where's my contested strength?
Okay, right. Listen, if you want to slide the hands with the sleight of hands, we can do that. Roll me a slide.
I'm just saying, I'm holding
you're
this
right.
paper in
pretty tightly.
yeah. I'm holding this paper right in front of my face too. So
He said,
all right,
"Take it from me."
Cade's gonna roll a sleight of hands to take it from you. You can roll a sleight of hands to keep him from taking from you. I just want you to know he has a +6.
that's fine.
That's a 23.
Yeah, you definitely swipe it out of my hand.
Tyrum, Tyrum, how Kade reaches his hand out as he goes to take the paper, and then he he flashes his left at you. You see him make a quick, sudden movement, and before you know it, the paper is out of your hands. It's in his right.
That was all the
Alright.
questions I had anyway. And
It is our
Tyrum turns around and starts walking down the stairs.
as
There's
you turn to leave-
that's a ledger there with all the bootstrap gang transactions going through this temple.
as you turn to walk away. He calls out, "Where did you find this?"
I have my sources.
No. Where did you find this? I need to know. So like, there might be more. This is phenomenal. This is insane. I've never seen such a well kept ledger in my life. You know how many ledgers I've had in my hands? As you you walk away.
Take it up with Michaelo.
Oh boy.
Kade goes quiet. You can hear him growl as you walk away. He mumbles something under his breath. But on that note, is there anything anybody would like to do?
Yes, Luna wants to try accessing his hybrid form.
So, what I've been thinking about is since you've never actually had a stable sentient transformation into a weretiger,
Mhm.
I don't think you can do it like that yet.
All right, so how about a full then?
You can attempt a full change, absolutely. But like before, you got to roll male wisdom.
I got you.
Where are you at? Where do you go? How do you set this up for this
So
change?
at this moment, if you look on the map, I was up in I'm still up in that little area right there, right? I've isolated myself, and I took Tyrum's advice into, being that I have to work on this by myself. So I'm thinking, I am as far away from people as I can be right now, as far as I know.
I just also want to say I'm not. I personally misinterpreted what it was you were asking me
Mm-hmm.
because I think if Luna was asking Tyrum on tips to meditate, Tyrum would have offered that,
Mm.
and it was just I interpreted the question of like, "Hey, can you just like watch out for me when I transform?"
Well,
And that's
no,
that's why
that's
Tyrum responded the way he did because he's like, I've got too much shit on my fucking plate to have to take care of somebody else right now.
that's the beauty of role play. That's how Tyrum interpreted, and so Luna has been left with this new feeling.
Yeah, I'm just putting it out there that if what you wanted was meditation tips, you got to be a little more direct.
That's fun. That's fun. But right now, I'm just going to, 100% no chill this shit. And what was
Bonus
it? I forgot
modifier.
what I rolled. I'm gonna roll again.
It is a wisdom save.
Okay. And I have, what was that? Plus three. So a 21. So yes.
Joshua, what are you doing to transform? You've
So,
isolated you you've isolated yourself in this small conference room at the top of the temple, or in the back of the temple. There's only one door in and three windows out. And what?
so what I'm imagining right now is I'm sitting on the ground with my legs crossed and everything. And I don't have my hands in any particular fashion, but they're kind of just resting on my legs. And as I am trying to access this form, I'm thinking about um, what Tyrum has said about you being the beast, not the beast being this thing, and I focus on that, and I begin to transform. And of course, the same bone ripping and skin.
No,
No, no,
no,
you don't
no,
get that.
Joshua, you channel your focus into a beastly form and a
Oh.
vision, a vision of Velcana glances across your mind, a tiger, vast in size and beautiful, elegantly. It dances along the ice. You think about the words that Tyrum said to you about a beast being no more a part of you than you are of it. As the tiger frolics over the deep ice, you see the mountain where Ysildra's keep is placed in the distance, and then the tiger looks at you and its eyes begin glowing a bright light, and it mouths at you, "Now go." And as you open your eyes, it is like a single motion, full transformation, like turning red. If you've seen that Disney movie, you explode into the were tiger form, fully sentient, on your feet, fully transformed.
I take in a deep breath and I breathe out, and
And the
I let out a roar. I'm definitely not roaring right now, but I let out a thunderous roar.
uh, as you roar out and look at yourself in the stained glass panel, before you is a monster, Joshua. You see a giant striped beast with massive fangs and giant claws. Your tail swings, in the wind, half the length of your actual body, and the blue stripes seem to be a bright blue as you take in the new form that you have, amassed. And at the same moment, Kade burst in the door and, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" as he points his gun at you. "Hey, it's he takes a step back and he says, "If you come over here, I will shoot you. Like, you can talk about this like last time. Maybe we can calm down." He
Calm
starts,
yourself.
Cade shoots the table. Like pure disbelief shoots the table.
It pulls the trigger on accident. Jaw dropped.
Like,
Tyrum follows in shortly after Kade because he heard the roar and a gunshot.
Yeah, I think Michaelo is gonna do the same thing.
What's up with Kade and gunshots? This is a gunshot. It's like, oh shit. It's just Kade. Don't worry about it.
It's just Kade. Don't worry about it, guys. Tyrum, Michaelo, as you both come crashing into the room, before you is the bloodthirsty monster that you guys met in the desert. The one that you know to be Luna, but last time seemed like it was unhinged. You also see Kade, starstruck. He is just fucking flabbergasted.
Michaelo is gonna say, Luna?
Michaelo?
Stop
That's
talking.
that's very weird.
Stop.
Guys,
Stop
that's
talking,
weird.
Mike. Kade,
Tyrum readies
stop.
his warhammer. I told him not to lose control, and here I am staring at a weretiger.
Kade turns around, and you knew that's
I
it.
didn't know he was going to transform. I just told him not to fucking let it control him.
Kade points his gun back at
I'm
Luna.
not out of control. I'm
Stop
me.
talking, monster. And Kade pauses, looks at himself in the stained glass window, and he looks back at you. You have 2 minutes to explain.
I focused on being the beast, and I got a vision, and then I transformed.
Kade throws his hands up. Yep. You know what? I've got other things to think about. As he like steps past Tyrum on the way out. And before he leaves the room, he stops and says, "I hope you know what you're doing with that, because, again, I've only known one other person to dabble in lycanthropy as strange as your case, and, well, didn't work out well for her." And he leaves the room towards where Ceras and Alaina are.
Now, I want you to think about this, right? You just described how big this giant tiger were person is, right? And he has his hands up in his paw hands up in front of him, saying, "Hey, now, relax, don't shoot."
Michaelo is gonna creep forward to Luna, and he's gonna kind of pet his fur.
Luna looks over at Michaelo. Can you not?
Michaelo is gonna immediately go into a shell.
Luna
Tyrum,
Go ahead.
Tyrum lets his shield down and kind of holsters his warhammer.
So, is Luna still in that room, or is Luna walking out?
I'm still in the room, man. I'm still in that
Okay.
very same room. Everyone came to me.
Right. I think after the gunshot, Ceras is going. Ceras is going to take Alaina and put her on Bucket and like send Bucket like up the tree to hide or something. Ceras is going to deploy her artificer cannon, and wait for ready in action to fire on anything threatening. She's going to pull out her pistol slowly out of her pockets behind a tree.
Oh God!
As you do this, Ceres, Kade comes storming through the door really fast, like just pissed off. Boom! Kicks the door open. You feel his presence, and he starts storming towards the direction of the kid's room. But yeah, with a sudden movement like that, would Ceres just pull the trigger?
No, No, because she knows Kade.
Fair.
This is an analysis. This isn't a jittery jumpy like I'm waiting for some shit to happen. She heard a gunshot, so she's like, "All right, let's post up and see what the fuck happens."
What is Reitou doing during all of this?
Right is still being held by Alaina.
Yeah, Reitou was in the tree with Alaina and Bucket.
Oh my goodness!
So now there's
Being
3 of them
squeezed
in the
to death.
tree.
all the
Oh,
all
boy.
the important cinnamon rolls in one place. As Kade comes storming through, he notices Ceras hiding with the gun. And false alarm! We've got. He just looks dumbfounded. He just false alarm, and he signals you to relax as he goes
All
looking
right.
for Dimitri.
She puts her gun
Luna
in her pocket and then tells Bucket to come down.
Luna grabs Michaelo and just walks with him outside.
I'm still in my shell.
Yeah, he's just carrying Michaelo in the shell.
Turtles don't like it.
Under
when
his arm, like a fucking piece of baggage.
And he's gonna walk outside to the courtyard.
as we pass Tyrum, Michaelo was gonna mouth, "Help me!"
Tyrum just looks at Michaelo. Get up. Said he's not gonna hurt you.
Michaelo stays in his shell.
Tyrum walks over to Dimitri. And
As you walk up, it looks as if Kade and Dimitri are already conversing about something.
am I interrupting?
Kade, no, never for a friend. Besides, this is your temple. I'm the one in intruding as he gives like a nervous bow and walks away. Convince your friend that he wants to do the right thing as he goes over towards Ceras.
Tyrum looks at Dimitri, and he takes his helmet off again. I know last night's events were chaotic.
Chaotic. You killed my friend and travelers merchants, protectors that we usually ally ourselves with, and you've trusted that demon. Chaotic is an understatement. I watched you kill a gnome in cold blood.
Allow me to explain some things to you, Dimitri. Maybe it'll help widen your perspective. Your friend was a slaver. Those merchants were slavers. That gnome was a slaver. And that Knoll has answers to a whole lot of questions that could do a whole lot of good for everyone.
Dimitri rolls his eyes. That gnome begged for his life. If he had no other choice than to do it for his family, did the man really deserve death? And here you are telling me that these answers are more important than your faith. They aren't slavers. The merchants take them to people of your temple, of your very religion. They cannot be bad. These are the values that you hold dear. He puts his hands on your shoulder. You are being tricked, my friend.
Would a merchant recklessly attack me without having any physical altercation?
Dimitri sighs. I was not truly there when things were
No,
getting
but
chaotic.
I was. And your friend had a tattoo that matched the gangs that were attacking everybody.
Tattoos are but markings on the body. They only tell part of the story. Did you ever stop to ask him why he had the tattoo?
I don't need to. I've already been attacked twice in the last 3 days because of those people. So whether you have some fun story about that tattoo or not, You are associated to those people until I'm told otherwise. And unfortunately, your friend would not show us otherwise.
Dimitri calls out, and how was he supposed to show you otherwise, After eating the fun side of your hammer, I'm sure he had a lot to say. And Dimitri turns and walks into the kitchen.
Tyrum follows him.
Toxic.
I did not dismiss you.
Oh, shit, you scared the fuck out of me. Oh my god. Sorry. False alarm, guys. I'm being
That's
touched.
hilarious. Oh.
Oh?
Not in fun way, and she almost killed me kind of way. I didn't see it coming, and her hands were already around my throat. I died. Simon, you're the new DM. Good luck.
Oh, okay.
Story's about to take a sharp left turn.
All right. So rocks fall. Everyone dies.
Everyone dies.
Wow.
But yeah, Tyrum, you follow Dimitri into the kitchen.
You want to make a positive change? These people are truly innocent. They don't deserve to die here.
Dimitri stares at the ceiling in a very get off my case, mom. And he turns around to you. Now you sound just like the gnome. He said something about proving myself and taking responsibility for endangering these people. But I do not believe I endangered them. And I do not feel as if I should be continuing my responsibility, especially after you guys came and handled everything so fabulously.
Tyrum walks up and is eye to eye with Dimitri. And then he says, "Fine. If that's how you feel about the situation, then leave. Go ahead, keep searching for whatever you think you're going to find. But know that you let all these people that you swore to protect down. And if you believed at all anything of those teachings that you loved so much, you wouldn't abandon them."
Fredrickson didn't abandon his ideals, and it got him killed. I barely escaped death once. I do not know how much more dodging I will be allowed to do. He he brushes past you, Tyrum, as he goes to walk out, and he stops at the doorway. I will take these people to that end. It is the least I can do for my fallen comrades, and of the kindness that I have my life to do so. Thank you for not killing me. And he leaves the room and he starts gathering all the people. The children and the three elderly, circle around him as he starts explaining what's going on. The one elderly lady is still sitting on the park bench in front of her fallen husband's new dirt grave, and the rest of the party is in the courtyard. You all hear Dimitri call out, "I do not know what happened in truth with my comrade Fredrickson. Some of these people here believe he was a villain. I do not know. I shared many meals and many moons with him. That being said, just because my friend has died does not mean I am free of all of my responsibilities that I have taken up for you in the past months." The old people look a little worried, and the kids look confused as Dimitri goes on to say, "I will escort you all to that end, and after that I will find my own path in life, yet again." Kade snickers from the other side of the room. And all of the old people put their hands on Dimitri's shoulders. They don't really know all of what happened, or they're not involved in all the gang violence, but they know that Dimitri has been a person looking after them in this temple for a certain amount of time now. And they trust him. Probably a lot more than they trust us, especially since Ceras got an old man killed. But that's neither here nor there. Um, all of the survivors gather their things in the front of the temple. The kids saying teary-eyed goodbyes to Reitou and Alaina. as Dimitri gears up the gangs, busted up slave trafficking carts. They've got like poorly scrapped together cages that are just covered enough to not be able to be seen on the inside, but they look really poorly put together. The There are two horses connected to the cages in the chariot, and outside of the fact that um, you know, the old people are sitting in the back part, which is the cages. The children are all safely inside the carriage, the nicer part of the transportation. And Dimitri sits atop of the stage coach where, the driver sits. Alaina is crying. Reitou looks sad. Where is everybody in this grand goodbye?
Uh,
Luna's psyched about his new transformation, so he doesn't particularly care about the people.
Fair.
Michaelo is
Um,
not one for goodbyes, so also doesn't really care. But he's
You
gonna
are
be in the
also in
room.
my hands right now, still, because I never let you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
Michaelo doesn't care
Never
about the
did.
people because he's still being carried.
Tyrum doesn't care either. Neither does Ceras.
Cade
Neither
watches
does
out
Kade.
over.
Neither does Kade.
Cade doesn't give a fuck. He's just watching these people leave. He's mad. He's mad that he didn't loot all the kids as they got to the stage cart. Um,
Tyrum reaches into his sack, and pulls out a scripture that he didn't take off of the wall, one that was in his sack before he had walked in that room,
an original.
and he looks at Dimitri. Before you sassily stormed off, I was trying to give you something that helped me see a path of my own light. Maybe this can help you while you travel to Dead End. When we meet there, I would like it back. And
Dimitri,
he hands him a scripture of Hydros stories.
Dimitri begrudgingly takes the scriptures from you, Theorem. He's not sure how to take you. Someone that looks so close to himself. Someone so similar in terms of build and face and just existence. Yes, all Shadowkai look the same. Oh, it's just
Yeah,
head
racist as fuck. Racist as fuck.
Anyway, anyways, um, but Dimitri
Call me
takes the
bad.
scripture. Dimitri takes the scripture and he begrudgingly puts it in his pocket. I will read it, not for you, but for Fredrickson. He
I don't
seemed
give
to
a damn
understand.
if it's for me or not. And Tyrum walks away.
Dimitri was gonna say something else, but it doesn't matter now.
No.
You stormed
Two
off.
can play that game.
The sass is on
bitch.
the sass is on the other fucking cheek, guys. Tyrum, as you walk in, Kade is posted up by one of the doors. He's been standing here watching Alaina say her goodbyes to make sure nothing goes wrong. And he witnessed that little tussle with Dimitri. And as you walk past him, he says, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you're a lot nicer than you like to pretend to be.
Tyrum just silently walks off.
And
Luna asks Ceras, "You think this is our home base for the time being?"
Luna writes on her board.
Ceras writes on the board.
More likely we've got many things to do, little time to do them, places to travel. This might be out of our way.
Michaelo mouths to Ceras, "Help me!"
Wait. Ceres looks up at Luna, not noticing. Oh shit! Luna's voice came out of it. And she kind of you're hairy all over. You're a big werewolf, right?
Weretiger, but yes.
Weretiger. Ceres looks at and pokes you. And looks up. Pokes her again.
Luna goes, yes.
Ceras kind of looks at you, jaw dropped in disbelief, and then kind of just looks at you, and then goes with 2 fingers and grabs a single piece of hair and looks back up at you, and she
Don't
points
you
at
do it.
Michaelo. She points at Michaelo, and she points at the floor.
Oh. I put him down on the ground.
How do you put him down?
So I'm imagining he's under my arm,
He's still fully in his shell, so you just have this
Mhm.
big ass turtle shell in your underarm.
Yep. So I pick him up where his back is facing the ceiling, and I set him down, and I give him a good little spin.
Ceras pulls the hair.
Michaelo trying does what as he's spinning, and then pops out of his shell, and then he mouths to Ceras, "Thank you," and then he kind of just like goes back here.
I think Ceras, as everyone is leaving, finds the old woman and just puts her hand on the old woman's hand for a second and doesn't say anything and just kind of gives her a sorrowful look and then returns to the group.
As you begin to walk away, the old woman holds your hand back, and she gives it a little old lady pat on the knuckles, and she says, "Don't worry, dearie. I don't blame you for what happened to my husband." And she gives you a very sad smile.
Oh, yeah.
He was a good man, a fool till the end, but good man. She tears up a little bit.
Ceras nods.
The old lady lets you walk away, and as you do return to the party, you do hear her start to cry.
Sounds like he should have been a better shot.
Hard to be a better shot with one bullet.
Yeah.
An all
It's
or
a
nothing
muzzle
bullet.
loader. Come on.
Also, we don't know if he knew how to shoot a gun.
Yeah, I didn't know if he knew how to shoot it, and I certainly didn't know if he knew how to reload it. There's specialty tools. I wasn't gonna give him random powder and another bullet.
That's fair.
Just needed him to get one shot off.
Yeah, and boy, howdy he tried.
You know what? There
You know,
should be a little offshoot story, a mini story about how he went into combat.
I mean, you not to metagame, but you guys could ask Kade about it. I mean, he was in the room. Anyways,
He was.
anyways,
I don't think Ceras wants to
anyway.
ask.
I don't think Ceras wants to ask either. But and on that note, Dimitri packs up the rest of the survivors, the kids hollering as they have about a day and a half's worth of travel left to get to dead end. Kade scoffs as they leave. It's gonna be so much harder getting out of this fucking Mars. My hurts my bleeding heart. He looks at you, Tyrum. How do you feel?
Tyrum grunts.
Yep, big strong man. Should have known. As you grunt, he walks over to Alaina and he whispers, "It's that guy's fault we're here. So just remember that he helped you make friends." And then Kade walks off. Alaina looks at you, Tyrum, and she's got a little twinkle in her eyes as she looks at you. Maybe not fully trusting, but a little more trusting than before.
Tyrum just kind of looks at Alaina and continues to just look forward as the people leave.
As you stare off and we see these guys take their leave, um, Tyrum, Alaina once again walks over to you and she says, Would you would you do me a favor? Can you pray that my friends make it there safely?
Oh,
Tyrum kneels down and bows his head.
As you bow your head, she kind of throws it in there. But also make sure that none of them get thrown.
Tyrum says, kneel.
Alaina very like quickly kneels at the snappy voice. I'm sorry. And she bows her head.
And then he says, Kydros, may your light guide these innocent people to safer areas. May they find peace when they get to dead end. May the darkness and evil ignore their presence as they carry on. And
religion.
am I rolling a religion?
Yes, you are. You are in a holy temple.
19.
Hiram, as you say your prayer, you feel the presence of Hydros, filling up the air in the room, and everything feels a little bit more relaxed. It is a positive feeling. It's as if Hydros was telling you you're doing the right thing. And then Alaina opens her eyes and she says, Thank you, Mr. Tyrum. I've never spoken with a god before, but she twiddles her thumbs for a second. But I think Hydros will keep them safe. And she gives you a little hug.
Aw.
As she snuggles you, she says, I heard a voice. One of magical presence, one of large power. But I feel okay. And she lets go of her hug and she runs over to Ceras.
Mm,
Tyrum, do you say anything back to the child before she runs away?
Not this time, no.
Ceras! Alaina
yes.
runs up to you and without missing a beat from that whole dramatic thing, she is ready to play. She runs over to you and she says, Where's Bucket? Where's Reitou? And that is where we are going to end our session tonight, friends.
Excellent.
Rosebud Thorn?
Yeah.
Rosebud
Yeah.
Torn.
Who went first last time?
Me.
Simon.
Okay. I guess it's me. Um, Rose to Kade's interrogation. Uh, Rose, I think everybody did a decent job at working with each other or interacting with each other a little more. Um, and feel like there's a little more WD-40 on the gears now. Um, so I think things are beginning to move like a more well-oiled machine. Um, hmm, um, Rose to Ryan playing Michaelo because it is always a treat. Um, and the story in the dice guy always has of like making Michaelo one up, whether it's intentionally or just nonchalant. And I find that hilarious.
Mm,
Uh, Rose to Josh for unlocking his transformation. Um, what else? Yeah, Roast the Interrogation. Like I said, that was fun. Bud. Bud, I am looking forward to uh where the party goes from here. Looking forward to more of Dead End. You know, um, looking forward to what happens with the Ledger. Um, and the possible development of the relationship between Tyrum and everybody, or just the party in general. Like you see the excitement between Michaelo and Ceras, and you see a little bit of the excitement from Ceras learning that Tyrum actually knows sign language.
Mhm.
Um, Thorn, I wish I could have gotten Kade and Dimitri with
Your
the Zone of
zone of
Truth.
truth. Yeah.
That was some gay shit, but uh, Thorn to Dimitri being a sassy bitch. Uh, and Thorn to me killing the gnome before asking him about the ledger.
Ah,
That was something that I completely forgot about at the time, and I was just like, I'm gonna croquet the gnome. I've been talking about croqueting the gnome for like 3 days. I'm gonna fucking do it.
Mm,
He said, "I'm feeling take a life."
So that's all I got.
Joshy boy.
All right, so Rose is definitely the interrogation. I was enjoying that, and if I didn't mishear it correctly, it sounded like you used fear toxin.
Cade has a laughter that can induce a frightened state in targets.
Okay. Because I was about to say, "Holy crap!" Anyway,
Bit of a daunting roar play. I just call it laughter. I've dressed it up as a hyena's laughter.
well, I thought it was very entertaining and very creative how you decided to electrify the water. That was nice. That was good.
yeah.
Um,
That cigar's got so much cool shit.
yes. Yes. All right. So Thorn. I don't really have a Thorn for this one. So I'm gonna move on for that. So Bud, I enjoy what I'm looking forward to is I've been looking at some creatures that a druid could turn into, right? That is certain challenge levels, and I'm looking forward to the next time that I can use a wild shape. So that's about it for me, really.
Hell yeah. Ryan?
Um, Rose to uh Simon and me when we were fucking with Bucket. That was really funny.
I want you to know if y'all had rolled badly on handling that magical stone, the force damage from the explosion would have been like 5d10 of health.
I bet.
Oh man.
Michaelo, I know you didn't have. Well, yeah, I don't know if you had enough health at the time. That was before the long rest.
I had one, yeah.
I don't know if you had enough to survive an explosion.
Yeah.
Ash.
How did Michaelo die? Well, he blew up in an arcanic disaster.
A literal just disaster.
Fuck
I guess
off.
another rose to not blowing Michaelo up.
Yeah. I'd have been very depressed having to ask you to make another character sheet for the campaign.
Me too. I would have been really upset.
But you know what? Never mind. That's an observation for another time.
Bud to seeing another combat since I've been using Michaelo wrong for a while. And I'm trying with Josh. I didn't really have a Thorn for this one.
I really like that because this was a mostly narrative session, so that's cool.
These narrative sessions are fun every once in a while.
I
Just
like
role
them.
playing.
Mhm.
I like to throw them in there. Simon?
Rose. Once again, I really like the bomb diffusion. I also like the interrogation. That was really cool. Uh, 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 nice bloodlust, Jay. Fucking croquet the goblin, goddamn the goddamn gnome ass motherfucker. Yeah. Honestly, I can see how that would be very tempting, though.
I mean, he was perfectly hogtied
You
too.
gotta have fun with it. No, he was free. I literally had him pinned to the floor.
Oh
Cade,
snap!
Cade untied him to make it scarier.
Oh god!
That feeling of hopelessness when he knew he couldn't escape.
He couldn't even escape if he was untied. That's the worst.
Oof.
He only had 4 HP. um, Rose, for Rose for having Alaina. Alaina saved Ceras on the bridge, so I think
Yeah.
Ceras was warming up to Alaina. Like because of that. And now Ceras is going to protect Alaina, which is really interesting because there are a few things that are it puts the what is a greater need for Ceras in question. Speaking of greater needs, Thorn forgot to give the doll 10 gold before I went to sleep. So,
Thank you for telling me that.
yeah.
Thank you so much for telling me that.
Yeah. It was a long day, and I almost blew shit up. I had to go to
You
sleep.
almost blew yourself up. Had to go night night.
Had to go night night. But I'm excited to see how the next combat goes, especially for Ryan and Josh, who now has control over this form. Is it full control, or is he still going to go full bloodlust?
He's got to roll for it. He has
He's
to
got to
roll
roll
for
for
it.
it.
Yeah, but the nice part about it is though, since I it's a wisdom save that I have to do. I have a bonus for wisdom save, so it's nice.
All right, Ron.
It's
Increase it.
Wait a minute now. Are you sure about that? Are you sure you want? Are you sure about that, Simon?
Sarah's
I mean,
got to
it's
put him down.
Sarah's gonna put. Oh, are you about to old Yeller my fucking bodyguard?
Yeah, but I'm excited to see the combat. It's going to be interesting. But I fucking as it's been said already, I really like the RP sessions. They're great. Because it gives me a chance to do some stuff. Uh, all that. It's good. Good. I like them.
Well, Rose to the role play, guys. I like to have a couple of these in here between combat so that the party can kind of deal with things and get to know each other. We're still early. We're all strangers except for a handful, and like I don't know. It's really nice as a DM watching all of you guys form your own bonds. Like Michaelo trusts Tyrum almost wholeheartedly, even though Michaelo hates Kade, and I think that's a fun dynamic. I like it. I think it makes for very interesting turns of events because Kate didn't know about the ledgers. He would have asked, but he didn't know.
It's not. It's
And
not that I trust Tyrum wholeheartedly. It's more of I trust him more than I trust Kade.
that's fair. But that's what I want, and that's what I like to see because
Oh,
it keeps you guys on
Ceras,
your
on the
toes.
other hand,
Besties.
Besties. Also,
Best piece for resties.
I really liked when Luna asked about meditation and Tyrum completely misinterpreted because that was you guys legitimately getting into it. Like it doesn't get any more raw than that. You had a conversation and it reflected so well because you guys had no idea what the other one was talking about. And I think that is hilarious. I love that.
And
And
then
it's
Luna said, "Fuck it, caution to the wind."
fuck it, caution to the wind. He almost got shot because of it, but hey, who hasn't all at this point? Who hasn't almost been shot?
Me.
I mean, how many times?
I
Hold on,
haven't almost been shot. I have been shot.
And Tyrum, you've almost been shot.
no, Tyrum's been shot. Bullets have dinged off of him already.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but guns. I remember the gunslingers in the deserts aiming at you.
Oh yeah, forgot.
Whether or not you took damage is a whole nother situation.
It means nothing to the strong man Tyrum.
His armor, you mean?
Fuck yeah. So Rose to that. Rose to getting some really good advice last session and then using it in this one. I feel a lot more comfortable with some things, and I'm excited to see where you guys go. That's my bud, seeing where you guys go with the story. We got a bit of a fork in the road early. Cade's gonna want to follow the monster, but we also got to get Alaina to dead end. And there's also the mysterious buyer somewhere in Moore's Marsh. So the party
Yeah.
has options, and I can't wait to see us work through all of them because they are all
Also,
interesting.
metagaming.
Metagaming?
Since Sarah doesn't know,
Since
but
Sarah's doesn't
like,
know.
there's a secret experimental lycanthropic army that nobody knows what happened to. What?
Hey Simon, fun fact. It's an actual idea originated in our first campaign when I did that whole thing in the Lich Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember
Oh
how I
my
said
god.
there was a voice of someone that sounded like they needed to escape.
Oh no.
Yeah. Metagaming. Um, yeah. So there's a thing out there like that
Interesting.
somewhere. Yeah, so bud to seeing what decisions you guys make, bud to seeing you guys' relationships bloom, bud to seeing Ceres become like super close with Alaina. I think y'all are adorable. You know?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The only
I
my
can't
own
wait till I have to choose between Elena and some other terrible thing.
maybe, or maybe there won't be a choice. Maybe there'll just be consequences.
Oh, I forgot I had a rose. I was just thinking about it. The imagery that you had when Elena is coming out squeezing right too. That
Oh
was
yeah, that's a
absolutely
rose.
adorable. I'm just thinking, like, she's this little girl, and there's this fluffy cat that's almost like a little bit probably like 3/4 of her size that she just took a giant nap with, that
I
she's
just,
been dragging along this
I just,
whole
I just,
time.
I just imagine picking up like a Mancoon cat. My inspiration.
That's adorable.
Thank you. Um, mm, my only thorns is it was a little weird interrogating myself. So, some of the things.
I think that was the best part. I think you did both really well.
Thank you. I'm not gonna lie. At one point during it, I was like, "There's something I want to do, but I can't do it because it doesn't feel natural." And yeah, I had full intention of like throwing him in the water and calling a lightning strike, but you know, his story dictated that he was more afraid than willing to die.
I mean, honestly, I thought Tyrum was gonna like kick Dude Man in the chest and like as he set him free and then into the water. What's
Right.
his name? Dimitri. Yeah.
Oh, you thought he was gonna kill Dimitri?
Yeah, like he just like
So did
set him
I.
up, brushed him off the shoulders and everything. I'm like, oh god, is he getting ready to like kick him in the chest or some shit? And then Dimitri just sped away.
Well, then, final rose of the night. I love that the role plays in this session kept everybody on their toes. Everybody seems to be pretty engaged, and overall, I think everybody had a good time, and that's all I want out of you. So, if you guys had a good time, I love the story. I'm It's like watching my little baby boy grow up. You guys are so adorable. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. But yeah, excited to see where we go next. Does anybody have any questions for me? Maybe something that needs like
No,
clarification.
I'm gonna go. I gotta shit. Bye.
Uh,
No.